It is crunch time in Sun Belt Conference football. Appalachian State playing host to South Alabama in Boone today. The Jaguars trying to get their first road victory in conference play, while Appalachian State plays inside one of the most energized venues in all of college football. You are inside the Rock now, Kidd Brewer Stadium here in Boone, North Carolina. I'm David Jackson alongside Avery Hall. A pleasant good afternoon to you. We're glad you're with us for Avery. What is an important game for South Alabama? They've still got postseason aspirations, one win away from their first bowl trip since 2016. Meanwhile, App State's just trying to stay atop the Sun Belt East.
It makes for a good football game, Dave Jackson. Again, Appalachian State's coaches talked about maintaining that edge, having that sense of urgency. Since the Louisiana game, they played very, very well. They want to maintain that as they try and move towards that East Division title in the Sun Belt and hopefully play the West winner in December. On the other side, you got South Alabama. Again, they were 4-7 a year ago, and now here they are sitting 5-4 with an opportunity to play in a bowl game if they can win one of the next 3 ball games. But it will be a tough road. They've got Appalachian, Tennessee, and Coastal Carolina up.
Mountaineers of Appalachian State making their way out onto the turf at the Rock right now in front of what's anticipated to be about 30,000 strong. They're going to see one of the best matchups today in all of the Sun Belt in terms of playmakers. You've got Jalen Tolbert, the only wide receiver in the country, over 1,000 yards in each of the last 2 years, going up against Stephen Jones Jr., 3 pick sixes in the last 2 weeks.
That's going to make for an outstanding matchup. It'll be fun to watch if you're watching from home today. Again, you've got Tolbert, who's just a phenomenal receiver, makes a lot of 50-50 catches, and he's going to get his 6 or 7 catches per game. On the other side, and it just depends on, Appalachian plays with a boundary corner and a wide side of the field corner. It just depends on where Stephen Jones lines up. But again, he is a ball hawk. You talked about 4 interceptions and 3 touchdowns in the last 2 ball games. He plays like a receiver as well.
Jaguars and Mountaineers from Kidd Brewer Stadium. It's 36 degrees at the Rock. We got football next. The head Jaguar, Kane Womack, in his first season, 5-4. They call him the detail coordinator. He does a great job of utilizing his full staff and all of their football brain power to put South Alabama 1 win away from bowl eligibility in his first season guiding the program. South Alabama has not been in postseason play since 2016. Meanwhile, on the other side, he's camouflaged. He's kind of hard to see today, but Sean Clark, the head coach of App State, 17-5 in 2 years guiding the program, 10-3 in Sun Belt Conference play. The Mountaineers already bowl eligible. They currently sit at the top of the Sun Belt East along with Coastal Carolina. Right now the Chanticleers and Georgia State battling. There are a ton of games with title implication, whether it's for the championship game or just pecking order, bowl eligibility. We're going to keep you up to date on all of it here today. South Alabama won the toss. They elect to kick the football off. Diego Guajardo will do the honors, and it looks like Jalen Virgil has an opportunity to return from the 15-yard line, one of the spark plugs in terms of special teams play all throughout the Sun Belt. He gets to the 25-yard line, and that's where Appalachian State will start with Chase Bryce at the helm of the quarterback position. Bryce has really picked it up over the last 3 weeks, just 7 touchdowns to just 1 interception. Avery Hall, he has been much better about decision making and his route tree, check downs, all of it is checking out for Chase Bryce right now.
He's doing a good job from the genesis of the play, where he looks at the front, he looks at the coverage, and then he makes a good decision with the football with whether he goes to one of his 3 outstanding receivers. So he's doing a fantastic job and being extremely efficient.
Nate Noel getting the start, getting the first handoff of the ball game as he goes left side up to the 27-yard line, where he is met by a host of South Alabama tacklers. Jamal Hickenbottom in on the stop along with Christian Bell. One of the storylines to watch today is Nate Noel. He needs 111 yards for 1,000 on the season. Noel would become the standard bearer, I guess, for this year's rushing class, and would extend that lead, or that streak for Appalachian State would be 10 consecutive years with a 1,000-yard rusher. Noel will get it at some point in time here over either this game or within the next week or so, as Noel has a little tough sledding as he tries to go off right guard this time. Picks up maybe another yard, 3rd down and long coming up. This is a big key for South Alabama, Avery. This is one of the best 3rd down defenses in the entire country. The Jaguars do a great job on 1st and 2nd down, put App State in 3rd and long.
They've only allowed conversion on 3rd down at a 31% clip. But they play very, very sound up front with gap responsibility, and that means they hold people to, less than what they want to produce on 1st and 2nd down. So very, very effective up front.
12th in all of the FBS and 3rd down defense. Chase Bryce throwing into it on 3rd and 9, and he is rocked as he throws that football away. Big hit there for South Alabama's Jamal Brooks, a guy that's been battling injury over the last few weeks, but nothing slowing Jamal Brooks down as he gets to Bryce right as he throws the football away, and App State forced to punt on their opening drive.
Jamal, he blitzed from that middle linebacker position. And again, it's weird that you say his name because he's been out for 4 or 5 weeks, and Wilfon has come in and played very, very well. But they say that he is the leader on that defense, he being Jamal Brooks, who transferred in from Missouri, and it's real clear he's going to be a playmaker here today.
Xavier Sabach punts the football away. It'll take a nice, healthy App State roll to about the 23-yard line, and that's where Colin Lacey will spin around and get to the 30-yard line, and that's where South Alabama will start things off. One final note on Jamal Brooks. He's got a little bit of an App State connection. His position coach at Missouri, where he transferred from South Alabama from, DJ Smith.
Good. Well, that's why he's good, and that's why he's intense. That's why he plays well in space. That's why he's physical, because that's how DJ Smith was when he played here coming out of Independence High School in Charlotte.
Take a look at Desmond Trotter for the first time today, getting the start. It's his 15th of his career. He is 5-9 as a starter, getting the nod for Jake Bentley today, who tore his MCL, but is not ruled out for the season. We'll have more on that as we go throughout the game today. Terrion Avery in the backfield for the 1st down play. It's a play fake. Colin Lacey hit with the bubble screen on the outside, and App State all over that. A 2-yard loss coming up as Nick Hampton deals the tackle for loss on the first play for App State defensively.
I tell you, App State has some very aggressive, very instinctive outside linebackers. Great job by Nick Hampton, converging on the football, making a great tackle in space. But really, it started by ASU disguising their coverage very, very well to have that extra outside linebacker on the wide side of the field. 10
tackles for loss for Hampton in the last 6 games. Terrion Avery's first carry of the day is not going to go much farther. TD Roof on the tackle for the black and gold of App State. That's consecutive losses for South Alabama offensively.
I tell you what, tight end was to the wide side of the field. That's just power football, DJ. If you take a look at it, we won't take a look at it, but again, defensive linemen, Demetrius Taylor, Jordan Earl, Caleb Sperling doing a good job of gap responsibility. Good job by TD Roof coming up and filling that gap.
3rd down and 15, the call for Desmond Trotter. Both teams dialing up great defensive play on 1st and 2nd down. Pass behind the scrimmage behind the line of scrimmage falls incomplete. It was intended for Colin Lacey. Stephen Jones in on the coverage for App State. So a little offensive feeling out party here as you see Trotter just sailed that pass high for Jones.
Yeah, trips to the wide side. He tosses it to the wide side of the field. Stephen Jones does a good job of just coming up and being aggressive as a corner. Again, a lot of corners play off a little bit, but he's capable enough. He has the talent to play up close, and again, obviously making a great play there.
Jack Brooks to punt from his own 10. He's got a big leg throughout his career. 30 punts of 50 yards or more. He's kicking into a swirling wind right now. His punt will take an exit stage right out of bounds in front of Thomas Hennigan. App State ball when we come back. No score here at The Rock on a chilly Saturday in Boone. Welcome back inside Kid Brewer Stadium. No score early on. 11:57 to play here in 1st quarter action. Both teams, Avery Hall talked about heading into this ball game, the need to win 1st down and 2nd down production. They both did so defensively. We've got kind of a great storyline to follow here today as App State gets ready for their 2nd possession of the football game, and that's the Gold Rush. They're the 1,000-yard rushers that you see in the streak of 10 consecutive years that App State's on the doorstep of. If Nate Noel can get across that finish line here today. Cam Peoples getting his first look in the running back spot today as Chase Bryce goes to Thomas Hennigan with a pass behind the line of scrimmage. A ball pops loose. It looks like South Alabama may be in a position to recover, and they have. Right in front of their own sideline. That's Jamal Brooks again, impacting play here in the early going.
Wow, and that's, you know, when you talk about our visit with Coach Sean Clark earlier in the week, you take a look at this. Again, horizontal passing game out to Hennigan. He tries to buy a little more real estate. Sometimes you have to just go down, and he puts that ball on the turf. I'm not so sure if the ground didn't cause the fumble. I don't know if we'll get another chance to look at that, but it looks like they're not even going to review it. But, you know, sometimes you just want to go down, but trying to, you know, we can understand Hennigan was trying to be very aggressive there.
South Alabama +4 on the season now in the takeaway game. They were +1 last week in their loss at Troy. As you see Terrion Avery get the carry across the 30-yard line. Picks up about 7 yards on first down before being brought down by Trey Cobb. Terrion Avery, 75 yards or more in each of the last 3 weeks. He's starting to heat up. Had 113 yards a couple of weeks ago against Arkansas State. That was his career best. Averages about 53 yards per game on the ground. He picks up 6 on first down, brings up second down and a short 4 just inside the 30-yard line. South Alabama trying to play sudden change football here off the App State turnover. Avery again bouncing around. Caleb Sperlin brings him down. And South Alabama shy of the line to gain. They'll have third down and short coming up just outside the App State red zone.
You know, South Alabama has great field position, and one thing Coach Sean Clark talked about as we talked to him the week, he talked about, you know, not turning the football over, and also, you know, winning, early downs. And right now, not only does South Alabama force a fumble, but they've been very productive on first and second down so far.
Trotter bringing Cullen Lacey in motion. He gives to Avery, and that's stuffed. Mountaineers get the stop at the 27-yard line. Surge led by DeMarco Jackson on the stop of Terrion Avery. 4th and short. This is go for it territory here as you watch DeMarco Jackson and crew get right to Terrion Avery.
The beginning of that play, DeMarco celebrating, having a great time. He made a heck of a play, but that play started with a great defensive line play by Earl, Sperlin, and Taylor.
29th fourth down try for South Alabama. 5th best in the country in terms of fourth down attempts. They'll try for it and complete the fourth down conversion on the Mountaineer sideline. Jalen Wayne with the catch just inside the 25-yard line. That'll move the sticks for a Jaguar first down.
And that was just a quick, actually a short out. Again, for the first down, he knew exactly where the yard marker was. He's a big receiver, 6'2", 205. Just used his body to get separation. Good catch, good throw.
20th time this year that Kane Womack's team has converted a fourth down. He said he's going to give his team this year chances to win football games. Doesn't want to wait for year 2 or 3 in transition. He says, we got a chance to do something. Let's go do it. As you see Terrion Avery carry to the 20. That's a pickup of 3 on first down.
Womack was real clear. You know, he goes, we want to install the vision that we have. We want to make sure that we eliminate the variability of a performance. We want to make sure we play consistent all the time, and we want to hold each other accountable. And that's why this football has gone from 4-7 last year to 5-4 this year.
Trotter managing well here in his first start in a while. Got the bulk of the playing time last week as Avery again goes up the chute to about the 18-yard line. Give him about 3 more yards, bring up third down and 5. We saw last week Jake Bentley hurt on the opening drive. 1 play later, Desmond Trotter rushed in for a pylon tapping touchdown that had to get reviewed and was later upheld. It was like shades for App State fans of Trey Elder coming in and scoring on that play to Dexter Jackson in the 05 semifinals. It was just like that quick. New quarterback in, we just score, and that's how it worked. Trotter on third down and 5 inside the red zone, being chased from behind. Nice ladder climb catch over on the sideline there. And Jalen Wayne makes the grab for what should be a South Alabama first down. They're actually going to spot him out by about a half yard and call 4th and inches coming up here.
I tell you what, that was just a great catch, going up at a high point in the ball and making a catch by Wayne, but really a great throw. Trotter was under a little pressure, but kept his poise, kept his eyes downfield, made a great throw.
Wayne going in motion. He lines up on the top of your screen now. 4th and inches. South Alabama already 1 for 1 on fourth down on this drive. No score, that could be changing. Trotter Hands to Avery, who lost the football on the ground. It's going to be short of a conversion anyway. It's App State ball. Wow. Whether they recovered it or not, Avery had the ball slip out of his hands. It comes to rest at the 15-yard line, and App State gets a stand inside their red zone.
That's why so many things have to happen well for a play to be successful. Again, just offensive line blocking well, but he puts the ball on the turf.
No score at the Rock. Clark's got a turnover back on his side of it after App State turned the ball over on their first drive. They force a 4th and 1 turnover, and App State's got the football back deep in their own territory, but the head Mountaineer sees his offense back out there, having not given up a point just yet. It's been a nail-biter. Hasn't necessarily been the cleanest game thus far. We'll see if that improves here as Chase Bryce looks to air one out. He's got a man down the seam. That's Jalen Virgil on the catch right around midfield. That's a Mountaineer first down on about a 45-yard pass play from Chase Bryce.
I tell you what, great route by Jalen Virgil. You got Chase dropping back, going through his read progression, does an outstanding job of throwing the football, throws it on the dart to Jalen, who runs a a deep end. Great execution by the offensive line, picking up the blitz. Good job by the Appalachian offense.
40-yard pickup for Jalen Virgil, who goes over 100 yards on his 9th catch of the season. Of course, this is a 1,300-yard receiver, so it's not like he's chopped liver on a team that's got a ton of guys that are creeping up the record book in terms of career receiving yardage. Bryce again to fire. Again, he finds Virgil trying to shake free inside the 30-yard line. 2 quick strike passes from Chase Bryce to Jalen Virgil. Move to the chains again for the black and gold.
Appalachian does a good job. Take a look. Quick dart throw to Jalen, who's trying to be covered by a linebacker. And, of course, you see the cornerback come up after the fact. But, again, mismatch created by Appalachian via those twin formations, pretty much double slot formation, and putting an athletic guy like Jalen Virgil in the slot.
Chase Bryce completing 63% of his passes, about 255 yards over his last 3 weeks. We talked about his turnover numbers being a little bit better as he's played cleaner. Hands off to Cam Peoples for the first time today. Peoples runs down to the 26-yard line. Pickup of 2, maybe 3. Bryce has been more efficient, and he is trying to captain this offense into the end zone for the first time on what is a cool day. When you see on your screen the shade, just equate that to cold. It was 36 at kickoff. All that down toward the bottom right of your screen. It's just frigid over there. Don't go over there. Play action look. And the hit off on the far side complete. That's Mike Evans, the tight end, the super senior out of Jacksonville. Catches the curl over on the sideline. Still be about 5 yards short of the first down.
You know, you talk about the efficiency of Chase Bryce, but it's also too great play calling. You take that play, for example, again, running your tight end, getting your tight end involved early keeps that safety honest from coming up on the run or dropping back in deep coverage.
Thomas Hennigan inside the 20, spun down to the turf at the 19, maybe 18-yard line. That's going to be inches shy of a first down gain. This will all depend on the spot as Hennigan tried to get free. There's Bryce connecting with the senior from Greensboro, and it's going to be 4th and inches for App State, 4th and a full yard exactly. South Alabama fumbled on this play just a few minutes ago. Let's see what the Mountaineers do. Peoples up the middle has the first down and more to the 15-yard line. And the Mountaineers will move the chains inside the South Alabama red zone as Yam Banks comes in and makes the tackle for the Jaguars.
Good job by Bear Hunter, Damian Daly, Isaiah. Well, Isaiah's out, Seth up front, and Cam's a big back, 6'2", 220 pounds, just gets in there and gets positive yards and gets a first down. And that's one thing the offensive coordinator talked about is, you know, not having negative plays when they're running the football. So good job by Cam pounding it in there.
See Luke Smith getting the start at right guard today for App State in the place of Isaiah Helms, who got hurt last week on a PAT try in that Arkansas State game. Bryce again on play action, now starting to scramble. He's got some blockers at the 10, stays on his feet to the 9, and picks up about 6 yards on what looked to be a broken play.
It was not actually a broken play. It was actually good decision by Chase. Again, all the receivers right now, folks, are covered. We're looking at their cover. So he does a great job of coming back across the field and running and getting what he can get versus throwing into a poor situation.
I like how a defensive guy was not apologetic for an offensive player, man. I like that.
Well, I tell you, again, everybody was covered. They had done a fantastic job in coverage. Again, Chase, that was just a great decision by Chase.
Motion man there was Miller Gibbs. They'll line up on the right side. That's where Peoples is headed. Right through Gibbs' footprints to the 6-yard line. It'll be a yard shy at least of a first down. App State can move the chains one more time if they can get just inside the 5. So we'll have 3rd down and 2.
Coach Batoon, he said he was worried about Appalachian stretch play. He said they run it better than anybody in the country. And again, that stretch play, you know, pretty much with the defensive front, you've got 7 gaps that you got to cover. And what the Appalachians trying to do is stretch you out, and they're trying to make sure that somebody doesn't, they overrun the gap or underrun the gap, and there's a seam, and they do it pretty well.
Under 3 minutes here in the first quarter. 3rd down and 2. Bryce with the play action again, looking for the back pylon, threw that one out of bounds, intended for Mike Evans. He was standing in the goal on the sideline, so that'll bring up 4th and short. Chandler State, and this would be a chip shot for him, but 4th and short with the wind blowing around. Looks like Sean Clark's going to go for it here, try to make a statement for his football team. App State not afraid of a 4th down conversion either. The Mountaineers 11 of 19 on the year. 58%, that's about 58th in the country in terms of 4th down conversions.
And you know, when your defense plays as well as Sean Clark's defense has played, you can gamble like this, Dave Jackson. You know, and also, too, when your offensive line is playing well, you got 2 backs that you can choose from, and both are averaging 5.8 yards per carry. You can gamble like this.
And now Bryce is going to take a timeout.
App State,
and we will take it with them. 2:45 to play here in the opening quarter. Mountaineers on the doorstep of the Jaguar end zone. We have a full-blown chess match unfolding here at Kid Brewer Stadium in Boone, North Carolina. Sunbelt play between App State, South Alabama. Both have gone for it on 4th down. South Alabama twice today. App State's gone for it once, or they're getting ready to go for it right here on 4th down and 2. Sean Clark said a few weeks ago, his team really into analytics. Don't take a 4th down try in this kind of territory as lack of trust in your kicker. It's just they feel like they've got a shot on 4th down and 2. It's Bryce on the run all alone for the Mountaineer touchdown. Chase Bryce dialing up QB1 on the run play, and the Mountaineers are on the board at the Rock.
Great play call. If you're Coach Batoon, the defensive coordinator of South Alabama, you don't think Chase Bryce is going to run the football in the red zone. You think they're going to hand it off to big Cam Peoples and put your trust in this big offensive line. But no, quarterback sneak to the weak side. Good play call by offensive coordinator Frank Punts.
Chandler State on for the point after try, and we finally see the ice broken on a chilly day here in the high country. Staten's PAT good, and the Mountaineers on the board here. As we'll show you again, Chase Bryce, the elusiveness, the running quarterback here. And as you mentioned, a great play design by Frank Ponce to decoy with everything going left. Bryce goes right.
You line everybody up, you're tight end, you know, you're trying to make it look as if you're trying to outnumber South Alabama on that side of the field, and you run a design quarterback run on the backside. Just a great play call. And you know, you think about it. Chase Bryce is known for his arm. He's got a gun, man, on that right arm. But again, he has not been that big of a runner. But that's how you kind of keep a defense off balance. Do things that they don't expect. I know that goes against the grain of the data analytics of nowadays, but you still have to play the game. And you still have to make in-game adjustments.
Well, and that was the point that Sean Clark was trying to make, is that because of analytics, you know, when you feel like you've got a mismatch or some sort of of imbalance on the field, you're going to take that chance. And for App State, it may have been, hey, you know, we've been setting this up with the way that we've run the football. Great opportunity for the QB run. So don't take that as we don't trust Staten or we don't want to see him kick in the wind or whatever the case may be. Sometimes it is indeed situational. That's one of the ways that the game of college football has evolved. And we heard Kane Womack talk about, you know, some of that same thing. Sometimes being aggressive with the football means you got to put your foot on the gas, and foot on the gas doesn't always mean kicking game, especially in a game where you're trying to win for a reason. App State trying to win to stay atop the Sun Belt East, obviously. South Alabama rolling the dice early in this game because they're trying to get bowl eligible and for the first time in a while.
And Dave, that's what makes for a good college football game in November, when you've got two teams with something to play for. You know, some teams are spoilers, but these two teams have a lot to play for today.
Brian Hill in at running back for the first time. You see Desmond Trotter chased by T.D. Roof, had to get rid of it quickly. A little play action design there with Brian Hill in for the first time, and Trotter had to get rid of it before he wanted to.
I tell you what, these guys on Appalachian's second level of defensive linebackers, they are all so talented. Again, just playing very, very aggressive up front.
Check out Jalen Tolbert. He hasn't been utilized yet today. 1,032 yards. Major Applewhite said he makes us deep ball oriented. We haven't seen Desmond Trotter toss the deep ball just yet. Let's see if he fires it up here on 2nd down and 10. Batted pass, picked off. Trey Cobb's got it. And the Mountaineers back inside the South Alabama red zone on the deflection.
Wow.
He wasn't looking for the deep ball, but the intermediate passing game. And a tip drill for the Mountaineer defense.
Tip drill, run perfectly. Take a look here. Trotter's looking. Again, good job by, gosh, that was, looks like DeMarco Jackson, who got his paws up there, and he was looking to blitz. But, you know, the thing about, a lot of people think about offensive line, they think about just protecting the quarterback, David Jackson, but a lot of times it's about creating a passing lane, and he just didn't have one. Where he wanted to throw the football, you had a linebacker's big paw there.
I think that might have actually been Hansky Pele. He was on the field in that rotation, and either he or Jackson got that football. Kind of tough to tell from the angle there. We'll see if App State plays sudden change. South Alabama had a short field to work with earlier, got turned out on 4th down. Waning moments of the first quarter. It was indeed tipped by DeMarco Jackson, we are told, from our spot-on crew in the truck, and App State trying to go back to work with it. Nate Noel with the carry. Picks up 4 yards on 1st down. Noel thus far in the game, if you're following that storyline, he needed 111 for 1,000. He's got 3 carries for 7 yards thus far. He's got a little ways to go.
He's got a little ways to go, but if you're averaging 5.8 prior to today's game, I think you need about 19 totes, and you can best believe he'll probably spring one before this ball game's over.
Fake to Noel, pass over on the edge to Corey Sutton, and he gets in for the touchdown, black and gold. Mountaineers on the board again here late first quarter.
Wow, what a great throw by Chase Bryce. Again, that's that quick throw, the horizontal game. Again, it's really getting the ball into Corey's hands, who's a great athlete. He can make guys miss. Again, too much cushion by the corner. Great execution by Appalachian's offense.
6th touchdown catch of the senior season of Corey Sutton, number 23 on his career. And just like that, App State with a 2-score lead. Staten's PAT is good. This was a scoreless ball game with about 3 minutes left in the first quarter. App State with 2 quick scores.
Good throw out in the flats out there again. Actually, that was number 22 trying to guard Corey, and again, that's just a mismatch. And then you go back to talk about in-game adjustments. That's just a great job of Frank Ponce and Chase Bryce seeing that mismatch and taking advantage of it.
2 touchdowns in under a minute, aided by the turnover. One of the things that Sean Clark talked about was needing takeaways again today. That South Alabama had an opportunistic offense. They're the 3rd best scoring offensive unit in the Sun Belt, so You had to stay with that opportunity to get takeaways again. App State +5 in the last 2 weeks in lopsided victories over ULM and Arkansas State. They've been opportunistic, taking those turnovers and turning them into short field scores. He needed more of that. He's gotten that medicine delivered here today.
2 turnovers so far for ASU, 1 for Southern Alabama. ASU's converted both to touchdowns. You know, the thing about it, Dave Jackson, is South Alabama will not quit. Troy had them down 31-14 in last week's ball game, and they almost came back to win that football game. Troy, I think, won it 31-24, but it was 31-7, I think, at halftime.
We'll discuss a little bit of that stick-to-itiveness and what led to that as we make our way through this first quarter of action here at Kid Brewer Stadium. South Alabama ready to take hold from the 25-yard line, down 2 scores again. Not necessarily the same way, but similar circumstances to what we saw last week. South Alabama actually got out on Troy 7-0, and then a pick 6 was what exclamated a 31-0 run by Troy to take that halftime lead that Avery referred to. Trotter going to need to throw it a little bit down a couple of scores, and the first catch of the day for the talented Jalen Tolbert, a sliding grab for a first down out across the 35-yard line. Tolbert, 59 catches now for just over 1,050 yards. He's got 6 touchdowns to his credit, 114 yards per game. A Sun Belt best, 5th in the country in terms of receiving yardage, and again, the only player in America to have 1,000-yard seasons in each of the last 2 years. Hand off to Tavion Avery. Trey Cobb grabs him at the 35-yard line, peels him back. That's a loss of 3 on first down as the Mountaineers sniff out the run.
You see Trey Cobb, you see Brandon Harrington, DeMarco Jackson, Nick Hampton. You see these guys making a lot of plays. But I'm going to tell you guys, if your D-line, your front, and Jordan Earl, Caleb Sperling, Demetrius Taylor, if they're not taking care of their gap assignments and getting penetration, you're not having these big plays. So, again, that was double tights. Came out trying to play power football, and ASU's D-line responded by getting penetration.
3rd tackle for loss for the Mountaineer defense already this afternoon as we wind down play here in quarter number 1. Terrion Avery trying to get loose and goes nowhere. Actually, that's Brian Hill on the carry, and Hill goes nowhere. Stopped at the 34.
You know, Brian Hill and Terrion Avery both are, you know, 5'8", about 200 pounds, 190 pounds, so it's hard to tell them apart, but they run hard. But right now, Appalachian is winning the battle in the trenches, and obviously the linebackers are able to flow and make plays.
16 plays, 24 yards for South Alabama in this one, and on 3rd down, an errant throw into the Mountaineers sideline. And the intended for Lincoln Sefcik, the tight end over on the App State sideline, so that will likely bring up a punting scenario here. That'll do it. End of quarter 1. 14-0. Mountaineers on top here at Boone.
Replay 3rd down.
We are actually going to stay with you here. We've got
an untimed down.
An untimed down. We're not done with this first quarter yet.
You know, DJ, I was surprised that was the first target for Lincoln Sefcik. You know, he only had 12 catches throughout the first six, I guess 5 ball games, but the last 2 ball games he's been thrown to 14 times, and they're obviously trying to get him involved in the offense. So interesting that was the first target for him today.
The down player on the field is James Jackson. Jackson has been back on the field sparingly today. He was initially listed at starting at center, but Trey Simpson got that nod a little bit earlier this afternoon, and James Jackson kind of battled back from injury. Looks like he might have been slowed up there briefly. So his injury will see a brief stoppage in play. Now we will have an untimed down due to App State being offside on the last play of the first quarter. So we've got bonus first quarter coverage. Here is what we're talking about.
I didn't see the flag on the offside. It was ostensible that Appalachian jumped offside, but I just didn't see the flag.
They're lost in all the leaves.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, all the leaves on the ground now. They're flag colored. That's when you know your fall foliage is at its best, when you can disrupt college football at the same time. Here we go, 3rd down and 8 coming up for South Alabama. Mountaineers got off the field on 3rd down, penalty brought them back. Trotter looking for the quick screen pass that goes right through the fingertips of Jalen Wayne. He had 3 Mountaineer gold-shirted defenders standing right in front of him. Not sure that would have done a whole lot of good.
Appalachian brought the house on this rush. I mean, it was just unbelievable. Too much pressure for the quarterback.
When you spend
Second quarter action just about to get underway here at Kid Brewer Stadium. David Jackson, Avery Hall back with you here in Boone. And in Boone as well today, Jake Bentley, though not getting a chance to play, as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, out with a torn MCL. You see he is still trying to find a way to help his football team, and that says everything about a guy who Major Applewhite said, as we see the punt away here, Major Applewhite said that football is institutionalized in Jake Bentley, and it allows you to do many things with him, as App State's going to get an opportunity to return there. Thomas Hennigan out across the 25-yard line. But going back to Bentley, he said when you've got a player that has been around football as much as Jake Bentley has, you could just do more with him. His dad, Bobby, longtime high school football coach in South Carolina, actually recruited, or rather coached Trey Elder at App State legend Shea Metters came up here after Bobby Bentley had some time to prep him down at Burns High School, and it's a football family. And you see Jake Bentley with an opportunity to ride out in the sunset. You hate to see the young man get hurt this deep into the season. Hopefully he can get back for one more, if not 2 more, maybe with postseason.
DJ, it's hard to enumerate the value of a quarterback whose dad's a coach. And you know, you go back to what Coach Applewhite was saying about Bentley. You know, he talked about, you know, when I came here, I had to, you know, kind of install the system. I had to get the terminology and the philosophy and the scheme down. And of course, he said Jake picked it up very, very well.
Offense number 2, half the distance to the goal, replay first down.
Bobby Bentley's not here at the game today, Avery, but he could see that call right there.
That's right. That's right.
Corey Sutton took Darrell Luter for a ride.
It's kind of like I'm going to separate one way or the other. If I even have to chuck you off a little bit. But that's a good matchup, Darrell Luter and Corey Sutton going in it. Darrell Luter, everybody talks about, you know, Trey, one of the safeties with 3 interceptions, but Luter has 3 interceptions on the year as well.
Luter would be the best defensive back in the Sun Belt, if not for Stephen Jones right now, in terms of the way he's played the last couple of weeks for sure. Bryce going back to the air, trying to, as he is piled on at the 14-yard line. Escaped the pocket just enough there that he'll gain a yard back, but Chase Bryce had some heat on him right away. Janarius Johnson, the nose tackle, getting in on the action for the Jaguars.
I tell you, Janarius Johnson, he's 6 foot, 295, and then he's got beside him Wakevius Thomas, who's 6'2", 305, and they're big men, but they move pretty well. Matter of fact, it's interesting. Coach Corey Batoon, the defensive coordinator, was saying that you know, Wakevius Thomas can play all positions on the defensive line. That's a 1 technique, 3 technique, 5 technique, just that athletic.
Second down and long. App State trying to go to the ground game, and Cam Peoples doesn't get too much further. I think they'll stop him for no gain and bring up 3rd down and long here for the Mountaineers. 3rd and 20 plus, just underway, second quarter. App State scored 2 touchdowns in under a minute after what was pretty much a goose egg first quarter. Got all the way down inside 4 minutes before we saw a first score. Then a sudden change on a turnover gave App State a short field. They capitalized quickly. You
know, you got the number 2 and the number 3 defense here today, Dave Jackson. So isn't it ironic that the 2 touchdowns came off a short field?
3rd down and short play. Mountaineers trying to gobble some action up, and now a potential late hit over on the sideline as Cam Peoples was sent into his own boundary. No flag thrown. It was awfully close, and the Mountaineers will get back that 12 yards and punt it away on 4th and 11.
Again, good throw, a crossing route there, or actually a check down route by Cam Peoples, and he gets as much as he can, but that should have been called. But that's why coaches get frustrated. That's why players get frustrated, because sometimes that call is so subjective.
Colin Lacey, the freshman out of Mobile, back to return this punt from Xavier Sabach. Get used to seeing Mobile attached to the names of South Alabama players, as we have a flag on the play. Looks like somebody from App State jumped. That was one of the things that Kane Womack said he wanted to do, instilling in his program building, is to really target that Gulf Coast area and draw more Mobile kids into the program. really coveting the opportunity to make South Alabama Mobile's team. And part of that is to have guys just like Colin Lacey on the roster.
You know, not only that, he made a great point too. Let's see what the call.
False start. Kicking team number 4. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
That's Wayne Winkler on the call there.
He also, he acquiesced to Auburn and Alabama. He said, listen, you guys in Mobile, I know you may have graduated from Auburn or Alabama. We're a young program, having only started in 2009, but we want you to love us too. You can go to Alabama and Auburn, but we want you to come love on South Alabama as well.
Sabach with the saw blade, and Lacey comes to his knees and picks it up at the 45-yard line. That's where South Alabama has it. Decent field position when we come back to the Rock. Welcome back to Kid Brewers Stadium. 12.5 minutes to play in the first half. There you see Stephen Jones Jr., the Walter Camp and Bronco Nagurski National Defensive Player of the Week. What a ball game last week down in Jonesboro. A couple of pick sixes. He had one play, Avery Hall, that Dale Jones said is a product of film study and just a guy being on a roll, right? He said he saw a play break. He saw Stephen Jones moving in the direction before the snap, and he said, I know as soon as that ball's thrown, he's going to pick it off and go back to the house. That's exactly what he did, as Jones nearly gets an interception on cue. That's what you do, man. When they're talking about you on TV, you got to make a play.
Hey, man, you just almost talked up an interception. Again, he's just such a good instinctive player, first and foremost, but he has good ball skills. He's quick, has good hips. And again, he watches film, and again, he's not afraid to be aggressive. And when you have a cornerback who's not afraid to be aggressive, you're going to have sometimes some good outcomes and some bad outcomes, but he's had great outcomes.
Nation's leader in interceptions heading into the week. As we see Brian Hill with the carry, right shy at midfield. It picks up 3 yards on the play. It'll be 3rd down and 7 or so. Both coaches said they had to get 1st and 2nd down production defensively, and you take away App State's short field score and that little flurry there at the end of the first quarter. Both teams have dialed that up defensively. They've got to be really impressed with their 1st and 2nd down production from a defensive standpoint. Trotter trying to get loose for the first time today. He's 4 of 9 in the passing game, 19 yards. South Alabama only had 17 yards in the first quarter. Handoff goes to Hill across the midfield stripe, and not much more than that. Hansky Palant getting some time today, the junior out of Miami, with the tackle. Be 3 yards shy, bring up 4th down and 3, and let's see if Kane Womack's going to roll the dice again and go for 4th down for the 3rd time today.
I tell you what, Appalachians put so much pressure on Trotter that he's trying to do that false clap to kind of see what the defense is going to do. He wants to see if somebody's going to walk up. Appalachian's being very, very poised and not showing him anything on the front end.
Hill is above Trotter. It's Hill out of the backfield, has the 1st down catch on the Jaguar sideline. Got to move the chains and get Hill into the sunshine there for a moment as he's run into his own boundary there by Brandon Harrington.
Again, good throw out. That horizontal passing game, good catch by Hill. And again, great job of knowing where the 1st down marker is and getting there.
81 yards rushing, a pair of touchdowns against Louisiana, and a 2-point loss on the road for South Alabama early in the year. Remember, they started out the year 3-0. Gave Louisiana all they wanted. It's been kind of tough for them since. As Hill gets a carry, 7 yards on 1st down, inching toward the red zone. Hill, another sophomore out of Mobile, as we mentioned. That being part of that building program for Kane Womack, saying that they have done a whole lot more in terms of community outreach, a lot more events in the Mobile area. They've got a brand new stadium, a relatively brand new 2nd year in it, but 1st year really with fans in it due to COVID. A lot of things on the upswing for the Jaguars. Their home turf, and that will make it easier to recruit as well. Hill running into the wall of Mountaineer gold shirts, helmets flying off down there. Forward progress spotted to the 30. That'll bring up 3rd down and 1. We'll have to see who's going to have to leave the game.
52, Interius Gray.
That's the right guard. So the shuffling of the South Alabama offensive line will take another gear here.
I think they'll run in Reed Gavin, who's 6'4", 335 freshman. So you don't think they're going to run to the right side, whatever they do, because again, they're going to try and protect him because he's probably cold. Not as warmed up as Mr. Gray.
Trotter on 3rd down and 1. Handoff goes to Hill again, and the progress line didn't move much, just to the 30 again, so no gain on the play. Brings up 4th and inches.
Take good job by the defensive front. And you know, you take a look here, the ASU's defensive line does a great job of getting penetration, which obviously that's the best way to stop a running play, is to reset the offensive, the line of scrimmage. Again, good linebacker support help there as well. They're going for it.
2 of 3 on 4th down today. Again, the 5th most attempts on 4th down of any team in the country heading into play today. Hill on the handoff, and he's stopped again. Demetrius Taylor shuts down South Alabama for the 2nd time today on 4th down tries.
Tell you what, great poise by Appalachian's defense. South Alabama tries to give them a lot of eye candy. Again, they send Jalen Tolbert in motion, making you think they're going to do a jet sweep. Take a look here. They send Jalen Tolbert in, you think he's going to do a jet sweep, but then they give it to the running back. And again, just great job by Taylor. Good job by DeMarco Jackson. Just heads up. Aggressive football, creating havoc up front.
Disruptive defense, name of the game.
And I tell you, that Appalachian defense has been creating a havoc. I mean, over 24 sacks, 33 quarterback hurries, 47 tackles for loss. All year they've been creating havoc.
South Alabama with 3rd best offense in the conference heading into play today as Nate Noel tiptoes around the line up to the 40-yard line, picks up 8 yards on 1st down, his first big run of the day. You talk about an App State defense that has risen to the challenge against a pretty good offensive team. South Alabama only with 47 yards of offense in the first half thus far. App State's just gone over 125 now with Noel's run of 8. At the 40-yard line now, the Mountaineers with 2nd and 2. Nearing the midpoint here of quarter number 2. Bryce to throw, looking for that far side boundary, overthrows Corey Sutton. Good defense there by Davin Flanord. He's got a little tie to North Carolina. His father, Gerald Wallace, the former NBA star, 14-year career, played a bit with Charlotte. I think he might have been a Hornet and a Bobcat. He was there long enough.
Wow, he was there a long time. Wow.
There's a special place in the NBA Hall of Fame for people that can claim association to both names within the franchise. 3rd down and short for App State. Shy of midfield, trying to move the chains here after a 4th down stop. Nate Noel's number called, and he should have enough for the 1st down. Got it by about a yard up to the 43-yard line. Noel now 4 carries, 14 yards on the afternoon.
That was just man-on-man football. A lot of people want to talk about ASU's zone stretch play, but that's just man-on-man. They had a tight end to the wide side of the field and just really played power football. Good hard running by Nate Noel.
Nate Noel actually recruited briefly in high school by Corey Batoon. He was at Liberty at the time. The defensive coordinator for South Alabama remembered Noel well as soon as he popped that tape in to start studying for Appalachian State. Bryce with a deep drop. Now he's got an opportunity to run. We've seen this once today, and dives down on the midfield stripe, just a yard shy of it. 6-yard pickup for Chase Bryce, who is the 2nd leading rusher on the team now. 4 carries and right at 14 yards.
I tell you, good read by Chase Bryce. Again, you know, your front and your coverage, they're interrelated. If you saw on that last play, they did a lot of shifting on the defensive line. And again, that changed the coverage on the back end. Chase didn't throw into double coverage. He ran the football.
Cam Peoples on the carry across midfield and into South Alabama territory. Picks up 2 yards, be 3rd down and short once again. As we go under 7 minutes to play in the 2nd quarter. South Alabama, one of the best time of possession ball clubs in the country. App State trying to possess a little bit themselves and keep their defense off the field. That was one of the keys that Frank Ponce gave us, trying to stretch out some drives as Peoples goes diving into the pile, going to come up short on 3rd and 2. So South Alabama gets a stop up front. Wakevius Thomas in near the tackle. And now it's decision time for Sean Clark and company as we have a whistle and a stoppage of play. Looks like a potential injury for South Alabama here.
I tell you what, that'll give them a little more time to think about this.
We'll take a break here at the Rock. 6.5 to go here in first half play. Well, that's Sean Clark with the opportunity to play the analytic game, put everything in the handy-dandy computer, and App State going to say punt. Xavier Sabach comes out. We've seen 6 fourth down conversion attempts today between these two teams. So if you like gambling football, this is your game. Stay on this one today.
It's always fun to watch a football game where things matter to both teams. Whoa!
That's a muff. App State's got it. Fair catch was called. There's a flag on the play. Don't get too excited about this for either team. This is going to come back one way or the other. And looks like South Alabama called for the ball, and that is indeed the case. And they will have possession.
I'd like to see a replay because I'm not so sure that the halo was violated on.
Kick catch interference, kicking team number 19, 15-yard penalty, first down.
I'm not so sure. I'd love to see a replay of that just to see, you know, if it was kick. Let's take a look here. He's fair catch. That's nope. Again, I'm a big former defensive lineman. I probably suffer from CTE. Probably forgotten more football than I still know, but I just don't think that was. I guess you could have called that one either way. That's what I want to say.
Christian Johnstone came up with the football after it hit the turf. So South Alabama will call that. Dodges what would have been a costly special teams error. They had a couple of those last week. That was part of the reason why they got down in such a big hole. They were able to crawl out of in the second half with good play. 14-0 ball game. Jaguars haven't moved it a whole lot today. Let's see if Desmond Trotter can put together a drive here before halftime. First time we've seen Kareem Walker today. Walker getting loose. There's a flag coming in from the backside. Looks like in the vicinity of a hold as Walker gets out to the 48-yard line. First burst of speed we've seen now that the Mississippi State transfer is in at running back.
Holding, offense number 71, 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
And Ja'Kai Baker on the hold.
Ja'Kai Baker, he's 6'6", 310, and you know your goal is to seal, to give your running back a seam. That was just too good of a seal. So I saw that hold from the booth here.
What was it that Kane Womack said? Relentlessly accountable, right? That was a relentless seal.
That was a relentless seal. He definitely was holding on that play. But he's a big body out of southeastern Missouri, transferred in from. He's originally from Omaha, Nebraska, and they really like him. He's a graduate student and plays hard for them.
Eventually, Womack and staff want to get back to more traditional recruiting and build a program with some continuity, but had to go into the portal pretty hard in this first year. And now we see Walker loose again. 2 carries, 2 big bursts. This one counts out to the 27-yard line. So a big pile of those penalty yards gained back. 8 of them, as a matter of fact. That'll bring up second down and 12 in a much more manageable situation here for Desmond Trotter.
Kareem Walker gives him a change of pace. He's 6 foot 215. He looks more like 220, but he's quick and he's elusive, but he's a bigger back and gives him a change of pace than the 5'8", 200-pound Terrion Avery or the 5'8", 185 Brian Hill.
Jalen Tolbert lined up to the bottom of your screen here. He has been quiet today. Trotter, play action, looking in that direction, and the ball pops off of the fingertips of Tolbert. Credit Jalen McLeod with that breakup. McLeod flashed right in front of Tolbert and changed his eye line on making that catch.
I tell you what, good throw, but again, really good job by Jalen McLeod getting a little deeper in his zone coverage.
Tolbert had his worst game, and now we see some extracurricular activity over in the pile there.
It looks like Mr. Interius Gray was really fired up about something. He's even taking his helmet off now. He is very upset. Something transpired on the field that has him upset, and it looks like he's having some kind of a breakdown there, unfortunately.
They'll get him off the field before he does anything to jeopardize his ability to play for the remainder of the day.
You can only imagine what was said or done that would make a young man that irate. Again, he was swinging and throwing fists prior to him taking off the helmet and prior to him getting highly upset. But he's also a transfer in from North Texas, and he's out of Macon, Mississippi, junior. But whatever was said or done was very, very upsetting to him.
Wayne Winkler, today's Sunbelt referee, working with his colleagues, trying to figure out how to sort all of this out. Point I was trying to make about Jalen Tolbert, he actually had his worst career game against App State. 1 catch, 2 yards as the lowest yardage of his career.
If I'm not mistaken, he only has 2 catches today. And again,
There were fouls by both teams. Flagrant personal foul, offense number 52. Flagrant personal foul, offense number 9, defense number 97. Both players are ejected from the contest.
Wow.
The foul's offset.
So let's watch exactly what transpired here, as Caleb Sperlin and Antarius Gray have been told that they will not have any more play today. You see the 2 of them kind of in the bottom right corner.
wow.
So if Sperlin's getting ejected from the game, there must have been something that he said that obviously precipitated the reaction from Gray, but both men have been ejected from the contest. Sean Clark still trying to plead the case for his man, Sperlin.
I don't understand, and obviously we're a few feet up and a ways away from the play and couldn't hear what Sperlin said, but I didn't see any punches thrown by Appalachian's number 97. I saw him standing still and Mr. Gray throwing the punches. So evidently the ref must have been in the vicinity to hear what he said. That's the only thing we can think of. But that's unusual. You hate to see that.
That's a blemish on what has been a fairly well contested football game here between these two. We'll get back to it now with 4:52 to go. No more Antarius Gray, no more Caleb Sperlin. We'll see how both teams will handle that from a substitution perspective. South Alabama already thin on their front line.
Dave, to your point, I think that's going to hurt South Alabama more than it hurts a very deep defensive line for Appalachian.
Trotter trying to get free, flags flying in again. Trotter hit behind the 30, but there are flags from multiple directions, so we'll see the stoppage and sort it all out. Nick Hampton had the tackle in the backfield.
Chop block, offense number 14 and number 55. Half the distance to the goal, 3rd down.
Kareem Walker and Trey Simpson both called out for the chop block there, so give Nick Hampton credit for the tackle for loss, and then South Alabama will walk it back.
Correction, the penalty is declined, 4th down.
Hey, what was it?
Chop block. 14 came in low.
Yeah, it's going back to Gray. I think that's going to hurt South Alabama because good penetration. Oh yeah, there's a chop block there by 14, and I don't think that was intentional trying to hurt anybody. That's a 6'2", 205 running back trying to block a guy who's 6'2", 295 pounds, and he's like, I'm not going to take him up high, I'm going to go low, and he was happened to be engaged with the offensive lineman, so I don't think that was an intentional dirty play there.
Jack Brooks to punt the football away from his own 15. Driving punt. Hennigan with a chance on this return, and he loses the football, and South Alabama's got it inside the App State red zone. Scoop on the recovery there by Jaden Vossen.
Voisin, rather. There's a muff by the receiving team, recovered by the kicking team. The ball cannot be advanced. 1st down.
I've watched Hennigan for a long time. If you take a look at this, I would have called fair catch right there because that guy was right there. He could see him with his peripheral vision. Mentally, you don't want to make that play. You want to give your offense a chance to line up. I would have called a fair catch there.
Yeah, Phillips on the recovery, not Voisin, but nonetheless, it gives South Alabama prime scoring real estate here. The Jaguars have been in this situation before. They have utilized an App State turnover to have the ball just outside their red zone and failed to capitalize back in the 1st quarter. 3:59 to go. All 3 timeouts remaining. Let's see if the Jaguars can punch one in here. Major Applewhite's got Pretty good real estate to work with and quite a few playmakers.
I'm still stuck on the special teams play. You know, Coach Brian Haynes and Coach Led over at South Alabama, they both do a fantastic job with special teams. And I bet at halftime they're going to have a lot to say to both of these special teams because special teams have made a bunch of mental mistakes here today in today's football game.
Kareem Walker, the setback. Trotter goes under center. Didn't see that too much in this first half. Play action, looking for the corner. He's got a man there, and that is a South Alabama touchdown. Jacob Hooper, his first career score. The redshirt freshman from Boaz is in the end zone.
I tell you what, good throw, good protection up front, and good concentration by the receiver there. Just great play, and you know what a way to respond after a turnover or a muff punt. You go for the juggler there. So good play call by Major Applewhite there.
Guajardo's PAT sails through, and the Jaguars on the board here with just under 4 minutes to play until halftime. Check him out. Jacob Hooper is in the end zone for the first time in his career, and the Jaguars have made this a one-possession game at the Rock. We'll be back. Kane Womack's Jaguars within 7 here at Kid Brewer Stadium. 14-7 our score. Both teams taking advantage of turnovers. You see App State's turned it over twice, and South Alabama capitalized a 27-yard strike to Jacob Hooper. And as one of the things that Coach Womack told us during the week, he said the margin for execution needs to be narrow and consistent. And a subheading within that was to win the turnover battle, because that's where his team has been most effective this year. When they're able to force extra possessions, they usually do well with those extra possessions. Again, go back to their offensive prowess, nearly 400 yards of offense per game. So that's pretty simple football explanation, right? Have the ball more, do better things with it. And that's one of the truisms that Kane Womack tried to bring into play today, and his Jaguars just recently capitalizing on it, make this a 7-point affair.
Well, I'm gonna make it a little more rudimentary and elementary. Again, that, you know, you talk about 2 football coaches that play great defense, 2 football coaches that want to run the football, and when you have good defense and you run the ball effectively and you have a winning culture, 9 times out of 10 turnovers are going to be the game changer, and that's why they want to eliminate the turnovers. But both teams have had their share of turnovers today.
Cam Peoples at the running back spot for App State. He'll pick up 5 yards on first down as the Mountaineers will try to go to work. App State's been held quite a bit under their normal production. This is a Mountaineer team with the 17th best offense in the country in terms of total yardage, about 470 per game. So far, just 139 inclusive of that 4-yard pickup by Cam Peoples.
Again, you do have 2 good defenses here today. Again, you look at this South Alabama defense. They gave up 430 yards last year and only given up 308 this year. So what an about face, what a turnaround.
Bryce to Sutton over on the sideline, and that's a Mountaineer first down gain to the 39-yard line. Second catch for Corey Sutton on the day, and one for a touchdown back in that quick flourish that saw App State score 2 touchdowns in under a minute toward the end of the first quarter of play. South Alabama as a defense giving up 436 yards, 27 points a game a year ago, 117-yard improvement in terms of total defense.
And they've done it on the front side with the run support and on the backside pass coverage as well.
Peoples bouncing around off of tacklers to the 42-yard line. Host of tacklers, 1 lost a helmet.
And you know,
people losing their lids. You can't play without your lid. Charles Coleman in on the tackle.
These guys are playing hard, I tell you. But you know, Coach Batoon, the defensive coordinator for South Alabama, told us, he said that, you know, it was imperative for his front line or first level of defense to play well today, and that's the defensive line against ASU's offensive line. And he was talking about how proficient ASU's offensive line is, how quick and athletic they are. And again today he's getting what he desired, because again they are playing up front, and that's why they've been successful as a defense.
Peoples up the middle, tiptoeing, trying to find that hole, leans across the 45, and then the pile moves forward, picks up 2 more yards to the 47, about 2 yards short of the first down.
South Alabama, their first. It'll be 30 seconds.
30
Please
seconds.
reset the game clock to 2 minutes, 5 seconds. 2:05 on the game clock.
Listen to Wayne Winkler. Sounds like he's about to blow away down there, doesn't it?
Sounds like he's at in one of those wind tunnel rides at Busch Gardens or something. Again, that wind's whipping down on the field.
Corey Batoon, the defensive coordinator for these Jaguars, has actually had some experience here at Kid Brewer Stadium before. He was the defensive coordinator for Northern Arizona under Jerome Sowers back in 2007. They played here in Boone, lost a 34-21 affair 2 weeks after that epic App State win over Michigan. Mountaineers averaged 42 points a game that year, and Batoon and crew held them underneath that. Corey Batoon was with Jerome Sowers for quite a bit of time in his early days. He's bounced around a little bit here lately, has spent some time out in Hawaii, was at Liberty last year, one of the better defenses in the country a year ago. And I tell you, you really got to give Kane Womack a lot of credit for the all-star cast that he was able to put together on a coaching staff. You throw Major Applewhite on the offensive side, Corey Batoon certainly got a great name within the industry on the defensive side, and you wonder why you got an improvement, because you've got great coaches. And that's how they are able to dial it up.
They're developing their football players. They're trying to install a system and to create an identity, and it's turning into success on the field.
Mountaineers trying to convert on a 3rd down, and 2 little misdirection action there. And Eli Wilson with the carry to the 50-yard line has enough for the Mountaineer 1st down. So Cam Peoples was crashed on. About every eye in the stadium stayed with him. Meanwhile, Eli Wilson running for the 1st down underneath your screen.
Not only did all the folks on the front line crash on Cam, but the safety paused, and that allowed the tight end to get out there in the flats and make a great catch and get the 1st down.
Mountaineers stick with Peoples at running back. Fresh set of sticks right on the midfield stripe. 139 and rolling, 7-point game. See if Bryce tries to gobble up some real estate. He is indeed going to do so. Throws it short. That ball's picked off. Picked off by Darrell Luter, his 4th interception of the year, and it could not come at a better time. Darrell Luter with the pick. And South Alabama with a chance with 2 timeouts and 90 seconds to play. They could tie the ball game before halftime.
That's one where Chase should have just, he drops back. He's going through his read progression. I would have probably gone with the first read. He had a little more separation. I wouldn't throw at Darrell Luter. Anyway, he's a ball hawk. He's Appalachian's version of Stephen Jones. Again, that's his 4th interception this year. He has, great instincts, does a great job of covering receivers, and they move him around to the boundary as well as the wide side. So again, that was not the best decision that Chase has made today.
3rd Mountaineer turnover here in this 1st half. Let's see what Desmond Trotter does. Let's see how aggressive Major Applewhite is over the balance of the rest of this, and it's a deep shot. First big play caught by Tolbert today, and that'll get South Alabama out across the Mountaineer 40-yard line up to the 42, and a timeout taken here. Actually, it's an injury stoppage as App State's got a player down. That is Ryan Huff, the free safety, down at the 44-yard line, so that'll stop play here briefly. Huff is sitting up.
I tell you, lots of injuries today, and ASU's lucky to have a bunch of talented secondary guys, from cornerbacks to safeties, but you want to make sure that you try and keep everybody healthy at this juncture in the season. But looks like Huff's walking off on his own.
Has a 24-yard strike to Tolbert. He's got 2 catches for 37 yards on the day. Desmond Trotter in his 1st half, 7 of 13 passing, 79 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. We heard Major Applewhite say they were going to scale back the package a little bit, not give everything that Jake Bentley had. Remember, we talked about football being institutionalized. He said, we're going to give Trotter a little bit less to work with, but just let him do it better. And he's actually put together a really nice 2nd quarter, somewhat quietly, as Colin Lacey hauls in the catch just shy of midfield. That's a 6-yard pickup.
They're picking up the tempo too, and that's probably a good thing for Trotter, because he keeps the defense basic. He probably wears the defense down a little bit. And you think about it, I mean, Trotter's not some neophyte. I mean, the guy started for 2 years prior to Bentley getting here.
That's right.
And he threw for over 2,800 yards, had over 19 touchdowns. But the difference is he just didn't know Applewhite's terminology and had to learn that. And obviously being thrown into the mix over the last couple ball games, he's had to accelerate that learning process.
First down and 10 from right around midfield. Trotter looking to attack. He's got Tolbert on the catch, and that's a first down gain inside the 30. Boy, the tempo really helping the Jaguars here. They had 2 scoring plays last week. 32 plays in 16 minutes, but they are going quick strike, quick strike. You see Tolbert climb the ladder for the first down catch.
He's a heck of a receiver going up high. That's how you kind of slow down that tempo. You bring a little heat, and again, Appalachian blitz the outside linebacker.
It's Brandon Harrington on the disruption.
There is no foul for intentional grounding. Number 8 was in the area of the pass.
But that's how you slow it down. But again, you also hope that a receiver doesn't get behind the secondary. But I tell you, Tolbert, going back to Jalen Tolbert, he just does a great job of finding a little pocket within the zone. They were in the zone coverage on that last catch hit that he made. He's an older guy and just does a great job in his route running and finding a soft spot.
Tolbert, top of your screen. Second down. Trotter for Tolbert again on the sideline. Is he inbounds? No, it's broken up by Stephen Jones. Boy, that's highlight reel on highlight reel there. Jalen Tolbert trying to climb over the top of Stephen Jones, and he got a paw in to break it up.
Hey, you can't get any better with this. Stephen Jones using the sideline as a defender. Again, Tolbert goes up high. And luckily, he's out of bounds when he catches that again. That's a great matchup, but Tolbert's using all 6'3" of his height to go up high at a high point to bring that down. And just a good battle. 2 good football players going at it.
Jones chopped it too as he came down with the football out of bounds. Third down play coming up. Big pass play right here, and on the boundary that is ruled a completed ball. That is to Cade Sutherland, his first catch of the ball game. Still shy of the first down. Looks like the field goal unit coming out here on 4th down. It'll be 4th and 5 from the 22. Diego Guajardo, setting up for what would be a 40-yarder. 4 of 5 from this distance on the season. 7 of 12 for his career. From the 30, Guajardo hits the upright, not good.
Wow.
Guajardo's second miss from that range on the season, and the Mountaineers wave off the points with 30 seconds to play until halftime. South Alabama did everything right up until that 4th down opportunity, and Guajardo just clanked it right off the upright.
If this were not a game, Guajardo could say, I tried to do that. But again, tough break for him. But I will tell you, this game is shaping up like Coach Brumik and Coach Applewhite, Coach Batoon, how they wanted. They thought it'd be close in the first half. They wanted to keep it close and give themselves a chance in the 3rd and 4th quarter. But you would think that Appalachian's going to kind of go in, make a few adjustments, come out and continue to be aggressive and try and pull away in this football game.
Nate Noel with the handoff. 30 seconds to play until the break. A pile of tacklers on top of him at the 23-yard line. Clock rolling inside 20 seconds. Both teams with a pair of timeouts left, and they might let it just kind of roll out. This is a first half of missed opportunities, really. I mean, you talk about a missed field goal, you talk about 3 App State turnovers. Neither team pleased with the crispness of this football game, but I tell you what, it's setting up to be an amazing second half here at the Rock. 14-7 our score. App State on top of South Alabama. Halftime here in Boone. Welcome back to Boone Kid Brewer Stadium. Halftime just winding up here on what is a chilly evening. Temperature is supposed to get down into the mid-20s here tonight. Some snow flurries potentially flying around the area a little bit later on this evening, but for now, just the sun setting on what has been a great afternoon of college football here. 14-7 our score. App State on top of South Alabama. If you look at the first half numbers there, Avery Hall right now, I think turnovers are the big story here. I mean, it's plagued both teams. Missed opportunities have plagued both teams.
Definitely so, Dave. You know, in the first quarter, Appalachian capitalized off some turnovers by South Alabama, and then obviously in the second quarter they capitalized off a turnover. But you're looking at 3 turnovers on Appalachian side, a couple turnovers on South Alabama side. And, you know, when you have 2 good defenses going at it and holding some really good running football teams to, Appalachian has 62 yards rushing right now. South Alabama has 27. So you've got two defenses that are playing very, very well. The difference will be third down conversions as well as turnovers. And right now, both teams are making those mental mistakes.
South Alabama 0 for 8 on third down in the first half. App State 2 of 7. South Alabama went for it on fourth down 4 times. Not all that uncharacteristic of Kane Womack teams. App State was 2 of 2 on their fourth down tries. Mountaineers will kick off to start the second half. South Alabama won the toss, elected to defer way back when. The sun was actually out then. Devin Rocket, his first opportunity to maybe look at one as the kick went into the wind for the first time today for South Alabama, and Rocket will instead watch that one bounce past, and we'll start things out at the 25-yard line with South Alabama down a score. The thing about it, too, Avery, you think back to the Bryce interception toward the end of the first half, and the best possession that we saw Desmond Trotter all day long, zipping the football down the field, firing on all cylinders, only to see the field goal attempt hit off the upright. So, South Alabama did everything right except put up points there, as you see the QB comparison there as we start second half play.
Trotter is 11 for 19, so he's been throwing the ball pretty well, and he's efficient and making good decisions. And, the one thing about this South Alabama team, they're not going to quit. Coach Sean Clark said, when we were talking with him early in the week, he said, he worries about their production in the second and third quarter because they score a lot of points in those 2 quarters. And, we've kind of had a little lull sometimes in the third quarter, but that's something he talked about. So this is going to continue to be a good football game. So if folks are watching at home, stay tuned.
South Alabama pitched a shutout against Troy in the second half last week. They average outscoring their opponents 7-3 in the third quarter. Sean Clark said that App State needs to come out and play with our edge, he said, and win the middle 8. As you see Trey Cobb there having another solid day, another tackle for loss as he continues an amazing streak. He's got 10 tackles for loss in his last 6 games played, had the interception there as well. He's had interceptions in back-to-back home games. We got third down and about 6 coming up here for South Alabama on the opening drive of the second half. Terrion Avery in the backfield. He's had 8 carries for 9 yards today. Trotter with some heat coming, and he's dropped at the 20-yard line. The fingertips of Demetrius Taylor just enough to bring him down on the tackle for loss.
I tell you what, outstanding productivity by Appalachian's defensive line. Take a look here. Again, straight up the middle, Taylor does a great job of getting adjusted and making a great tackle or sack on the quarterback. Whenever you can get productivity out of your front 3 in a situation like that in 3rd and 6, that's always a good thing. So great effort by Taylor.
Taylor's second sack of the day, give him 6 on the year, 25.5 for his Mountaineer career. Jack Brooks punting from his own 6, another low line drive. This is almost like a spiral right at Thomas Hennigan, who catches it this time and rolling around in all kinds of crazy directions. Now he's got a little room to run as he gets upended right on the 40-yard line. Another pop out of bounds that was awfully close to a late hit.
Wow.
South Alabama sending a little message there to the Mountaineers. Watch Thomas Hennigan trying out for Dancing with the Stars after he's done with his 12-year career here at App State as a wide receiver.
That's a late hit by Trey Kaiser, number 22. That's the second time he's not been called. But what do they say? If you don't penalize someone for bad behavior, they'll keep doing it. So that's why he probably continues to do that, because that was definitely a late hit.
Chase Bryce back in the QB spot. And the first handoff of the first half, Cam Peoples has been picked up off the ground and brought back to about the same place he started from, right around the 35-yard line. I don't know that I've seen defensive linemen physically pick someone up and carry them backwards before like that, but the great thing about forward progress is he's still got a yard for it.
I tell you what, big Wakevius Thomas and Janarius Johnson up front, they're big enough. They can pick up a few people, but they're getting good pressure and good penetration right now on that defensive line by South Alabama.
App State only 63 yards rushing thus far in the contest. Bryce trying to throw one in stride, just overshot his intended target there. That was Malik Williams. First time he's been thrown to today.
I tell you what, that was good pressure by A.J. DeShazer, who's a stinger, comes out number 3 here. If you take a look at him, good pressure, which forces Chase Bryce to throw off his back foot. He can't step into his throw, and obviously he put a little too much muster on it.
Williams came into play today, 45 catches, 678 yards. Fourth in the Sun Belt in receiving yards and receptions, and that was his first target of the afternoon. 3rd down and 9 for App. 2 of 7 on 3rd down, and now we see a stoppage.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Tell you what, with a spread offense, as you see Sean Clark's frustration there, you don't often see delays of game with an offense like this, but head coach none too pleased with the start here.
They want to run a pro-tempo offense. They want to keep the defense, in a basic, alignment and basic personnel. They want to kind of wear them down, but you're really not supposed to see a delay of game. So, again, just a few mental errors right now by ASU. And I will tell you right now, South Alabama's playing pretty hard. They're playing pretty hard on the defensive side of the football.
Peoples the running back alongside Bryce in the shotgun here on 3rd down and long. Bryce, deep ball, Malik Williams trying to play center field, pulled down, it's incomplete. Deep in the backfield there. Devin Rocket on the coverage, and the Mountaineers will have to punt it away on their opening drive of the second half.
Now, that was not a wasted play, because that'll keep the safeties, keep the, the second level and third levels of the defense. You take a look here, good throw. And that, that's a 50-50 ball you might have to come up with. And Malik probably would want to try that one over. But good job by Keith Gallman, the free safety, not letting him get too far behind him.
Sabach with the punt away to the 32-yard line. He had a 51-yarder earlier. So South Alabama with the football at the 32. We are scoreless thus far in the second half. 14-7 in the game here in Boone. Desmond Trotter back to work for the Jaguars of South Alabama, trailing App State by 7 on the road in Boone. A win today for South Alabama punches their ticket toward bowl eligibility and guarantees, all but guarantees. Well, we can say guarantees. There are enough bowl games out there, right? Kane Womack taking his team to postseason in that first year, trying to get that first Sun Belt road win. South Alabama in a good position here, as we see on the underneath. Tolbert getting loose across midfield, steps out of bounds in front of Stephen Jones. That's a big connection there. 20-plus yards to start this second drive of the second half for South Alabama. That
was a well-designed play. They lined Tolbert on the outside receiver on the right side of the field. He goes drag route across the middle of the field underneath the linebackers. Great catch and great run after the catch. That's hard to defend when you have a good receiver who's pretty precise in how he runs the play or runs the route.
Tolbert 5 catches now for 82 yards. That's a 19-yard strike. South Alabama to the App State 49. First down and 10 for the Jaguars, trying to tie the football game here in Boone. Kareem Walker, that change of direction back, gets the handoff off the left side. He'll carry 3 yards forward down to the 47-yard line. Walker gave a little boost in the run game there toward the end of the first half. So far, 21 carries, 22 yards rushing for South Alabama. Their strength has been in the passing game, where Trotter's thrown for 136 on 12 of 20 here today. Not a lot of offense in this game. Play action look. Trotter steps, throws. Well overthrown. Looking for Tolbert streaking down the seam. Missed him by about 5 yards.
Tolbert again lined up as the inside receiver on the wide side of the field. Again, trying to find a little soft spot in the coverage. And Trotter probably, his eyes got big, because he did have a step or two on the defender, and he just overthrew him on that play.
Hell's bells ring on third down here at the Rock. App State has pitched a shutout on third down conversion. South Alabama 0 for 9 on third down. They're 2 of 4 on fourth down, though. And this is probably 4-down territory here from the 47. Trotter with a ton of time. Now he's going to take off and run and convert this on his own across the 40-yard line. Bounced out at the 37. Great awareness by Desmond Trotter to move the chains for the Jaguars.
Good decision. Again, offensive line bought a lot of time up front. defensive third level of the defense, the back end of the defense, did a great job of covering all the receivers. Lots of real estate on that boundary side. He takes off and he runs. Good decision on Trotter's part.
Major Applewhite said he was so glad to see that Desmond Trotter did not come into the meeting room 15 minutes earlier this week. He said it's just a kind of all right, let's go type attitude for him after getting put into that starting position as he completes a pass right across the middle of the field. That's Tolbert again inside the 20. They'll mark him out at the 17-yard line. Good for a South Alabama first down inside the App State red zone. Going back to Trotter, though, it's utilizing that experience. Today was his 15th career start. He's amassed over 3,000 yards as the South Alabama quarterback, and he's been there, done that. He didn't have to do anything extra, just go do the job.
He looks like he has not missed a beat. I mean, that time he sat in the pocket and got nailed, but threw a dart to the receiver. I mean, lots of poise.
Trotter on the run, tries the quick pass, flag on the play, and hold everything here. The pass was completed to Cade Sutherland. We'll see they call him inbounds. There was a flag near the App State bench. A lot of unhappy folks down there.
Roughing the passer, defense number 29. After distance to the goal, automatic first down.
And that's where the irate behavior from the App State bench came from, as Brandon Harrington was called for the penalty. Let's check it again.
I think if it's not the quarterback, he'd be okay. But again, that is the quarterback, and in this day and age of college football, they are going to always protect the ball thrower.
Meanwhile, Cade Sutherland makes a heck of a catch down there, but you know, all the focus goes in on the roughing the passer, unfortunately. Jalen Tolbert over 100 yards today. He has been a big part of the reason South Alabama's inside the App State 10. Trotter looking for him in the corner, tried the one-handed catch against the body and couldn't haul it in. Good coverage there by Madison Cone.
Good job by Madison Cone running with Tolbert the entire way. Again, just good job at the last minute getting his hand up. Again, he probably could have caught that one, but again, man-to-man coverage, that's a tall task for Madison Cone to guard Jalen Tolbert in a one-on-one situation there. And you think about it too, Madison Cone is what, 5'9", and Tolbert 6'3". That was actually just a good play by Madison Cone.
Tolbert's had 6 touchdowns in his last 5 games played. He'll likely be a target here, as Trotter will take off the middle and not get anywhere. App State ready for the QB sneak. Pile of Mountaineers in on the tackle. Third down coming up. Trey Cobb in there at the bottom of the pile along with Demetrius Taylor. Those two men have been active today for the black and gold.
That was a design run, and that is one difference between Jake Bentley and Desmond Trotter. Jake is not going to try and run the football, but Trotter, he's not, you're not going to confuse him for Malik Willis or anybody like that, but he can run the football and run it effectively.
Avery off of Trotter's right hip. Tolbert in motion. He just moved up into that top slot. Tolbert standing near the goal line. Trotter chased, bouncing off his own players on 3rd and goal. He's dropped at the 5. Big stop for App State. What do you do here if you're Major Applewhite and crew? You're down 7, 8 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. You failed on 2 4th down conversions today, but that's your MO, to go for it on 4th down and be aggressive.
You know what? They're in Boone, North Carolina. They've got Appalachian State in a tight football game. They've got Jalen Tolbert on as one of their receivers.
Flex the muscle and
They're
go
going
for
to flex the muscle here and go for it. Again, the football coaching book probably says put points on the board with the field goal, but they also missed a field goal.
Sefcik going in motion toward the bottom of your screen. Terrion Avery lined up as the setback. Fake to Avery. Sefcik coming back, and he's tackled on 4th down. Huge stop for App State.
Stephen Jones. There goes that man again. Again, Stephen Jones just does a great job of coming up after Trotter throws the football and makes a great open field tackle on a bigger tight end.
Here's your drive summary today. A little bit non-traditional, had a couple touchdowns in there. Punt, interception, halftime punt. That sells tickets, baby.
I tell you what, South Alabama has a lot to do with that because
Nate Noel fumbled the football.
Wow.
Looks like South Alabama's got it inside the 10-yard line. Their body language suggests it. Hold everything here. Noel coughed up the ball. There is a pile. App State saying they've got it. This is the classic. No, we've got it. No, you've got it. No, we've got it.
that's when you got to sacrifice all body organs at the bottom of that pile. Just hang on to that football until they.
And the Mountaineers maintain possession.
The ruling on the field is a fumble by the offense, recovered by the offense, second down.
Good job.
And that sound you heard is not the wind, that is the sigh of relief from the Mountaineer sideline.
Yeah, we're going back to the drive summary. Let's take a look at this. Again, spin move here, ball comes out, and not really sure anybody knocked it out. I think he just trying to do a little too much and lost the football there. But good job by the big guys up front. Bear Hunter, Luke Smith, Damian Daly, Cooper Hodges, Anderson Hardy getting that ball back.
Noel hangs on to it this time as he gets out to the 10-yard line. Check that. That was Peoples on the carry. So up to the 10, App State with 3rd down and 5. Mountaineers have been in the mud offensively here today. And again, credit South Alabama for coming in with that solid defense, especially against the run. They have limited App State to just 69 rushing yards, 104 in the air, 173 total.
You know, Coach Batoon, the defensive coordinator, he said, listen, our defensive line has to have a monster game against this athletic, physical Appalachian offensive line. And right now, they're handling their own. And you'd like to see the Appalachian O-line from the last 2 or 3 ball games show up because, again, it's competitive. They're competing, but right now, it looks like South Alabama's winning up front.
Corey Sutton with his 3rd catch of the day out across the 15-yard line, moves the chains on 3rd down and 5. You look back at that South Alabama defensive front, 117 yards per game they average on the ground, so they have been keeping running games in check.
And Dave, it's interesting, you know, we're all football guys around here, and, you know, you say, okay, South Alabama, they beat Bowling Green. That's a 1-6 or 3-6 football team. Southern Miss a 1-7 football team. They beat Alcorn State. And then you look at Appalachian's non-conference schedule, because we all know who they play in the conference, and you say, well, they beat ECU, Marshall, and a good FCS Colonial Athletic Association team in Elon. And you say, well, is this defense as good as Bill? I will tell you from watching South Alabama play today. Now, this is just a one football game, a random, you know, a small sampling of what they've done. This is a very good football team. 1st level, which is defensive front, 2nd level, and 3rd level.
Darrell Luter down on the field. We'll get an update on him in a moment when we come back to Boone.
Talking too much.
Hey, I can tell you're a fan. Lucky for you, nothing keeps you connected.
You got to do whatever you can do to keep warm on a day like this. Play an instrument. Make sure you've got your toboggan. 5:06 and rolling. 3rd quarter here at Chili Kid Brewer Stadium. Mountaineers up 14-7. Just got another 4th down stand, trying to capitalize the other way, and it's slow going, moving out of their own deep territory here. Cam Peoples on a carry. App State's ground game has been stymied here today. Peoples now with 13 carries for just under 40 yards. And that is the team best. Sometimes that's a quarter. Sometimes that's a possession for this App State offensive football team that usually is a little bit more productive. They came in averaging just over 200 yards per game on the year, 4th best in the conference, 27th best in the country. Remember, they have been a top 25 rushing team every year since they've been in the FBS, and that could be in jeopardy if they don't get the ground game going here. They'll fall obviously well below that threshold. Peoples again on 3rd down and short. Should have enough for the 1st down gain, and the Mountaineers move the chains again. This is a little bit of a clock eater here too, Avery. App State, again, traditionally a little bit more quick strike offense, but their defense has had to be out there for quite a bit here today, so Chase Bryce not exactly disappointed with slow and steady. Now going for the deep shot. He's got Malik Williams in stride at the 30. That's a field flipper for a Mountaineer 1st down.
I tell you what, good protection up front. Good throw by Chase Bryce. And Garrett catch. If you take a look here, again, this would be what would typically be a 7-step drop, but he's already in that shotgun formation. Great throw, great catch. Keith Gallman actually had good position, but Malik just pulled away from him.
Peoples with some running room on the right side. The spin move inside the 10-yard line. That's a 12-yard pickup for Peoples. And a Mountaineer first down.
Stretch zone play. Again, just trying, this defense has been on the field for a while. Trying to stretch those guys out. They're a little fatigued. Good hard running by Cam. Good play up front by the big offensive lineman.
Bryce looking for the corner. He's got Hennigan over there fighting for the football. Can't come up with it. It's incomplete. Good coverage over in the corner by Devin Rocket, the senior out of Northwest Mississippi Junior College.
Devin Rocket is who I thought that Appalachian would pick on a little bit today because of the proficiency of Darrell Luter and Trey Young and all these guys who are so seasoned. But Devin Rocket has actually held his own against Thomas Hennigan today.
And Luter's on the sidelines right now with an injury. Peoples trying to bounce out to the right-hand side. Nearly lost the football. Instead possesses it inside the 8-yard line. I'll bring up 3rd down and goal.
And if Devin Rocket's family's listening in Oxford, Mississippi, that's not a knock on Devin Rocket. I just thought that, he's the guy that doesn't have all the interceptions right now. So you thought that's what Appalachian would target, because Appalachian has just 3 or 4 just solid receivers. But they said they're going to go right at Darrell Luter, and he's kind of responded to with an interception or 2.
3rd and goal from the 8. 1 possession game. App State needs points. Bryce bouncing with time across the back of the end zone. Well overthrown. He intended for Thomas Hennigan, who got knocked to the ground as he went up for that football. So now App State in that kind of tricky territory. It looks like they're going to elect to go for the field goal here and bring out Chandler Staten. Staten will spot at the 15-yard line, so a 25-yard field goal just inside the right hash. This year he's 6 of 6 from that distance, 76% for his career. Kicking into the wind. Good hold, good snap. 15 for 15 for Chandler Staten. So the Mountaineers get points on the board, make it a 10-point ball game at 17-7. With 2:18 to go here in the 3rd and Avery. In a game like this, that extra 3 points feels like a lot more.
It is a lot more, because right now, this South Alabama offense seems to have a little juice. Trotter is more comfortable. It seems as if Major Applewhite is opening up the playbook a little more. You take away a few drops, he's had a pretty good second half thus far. And again, you even talked about prior to the missed field goal. That was a pretty efficient drive prior to that missed field goal. So he's getting more confidence. He's getting more comfortable despite the pressure that's being put on him. And that's going to make for a fun 4th quarter, because, again, these guys, they've got some really good football players on the South Alabama team, and they're up for the fight.
App State 12-play, 88-yard drive, 5:02 off this 3rd quarter clock as you see Chase Bryce come over to the sideline. 11 of 19 in the passing game, 161 yards and a touchdown. He also ran for a score today. App State with 94 yards rushing as a team, 255 now total for the game. Still a couple of minutes remaining here in the 3rd. Hughes to kick it away. South Alabama going to return here. That's Lacey across the 30-yard line, tripped up at the 32, and the Jaguars will try to answer with a little bit more efficient production from their offense here in this second half as well. Desmond Trotter's numbers, 15 of 25 in the passing game, 161 in the air. Overall, South Alabama just under 200 yards at 198. Desmond Trotter has some interesting connections to Boone in a roundabout way. We'll get into that after this first play. Man, it's a really roundabout way, but it's a connection. That's what we're here for. Play action fake. Trotter being chased. Now he'll take what he can get and slide out of bounds just shy of the 40-yard line. So Desmond Trotter's grandfather is Ozzie Newsome, NFL Hall of Fame tight end, former Ravens GM. As the Ravens general manager, Ozzie Newsome signed one Daniel Wilcox, former App State tight end, and he also employed a former Mountaineer quarterback as a scout for a while too in Daniel Jeremiah. There you see Wilcox, played here in 99, 2000 at App State, signed by the Ravens in 2004. And Daniel Jeremiah has gone on to fame with the NFL Network, but all part of the Ozzie Newsome managerial tree. And Newsome still part of the Ravens franchise, even though he gave up the GM role some time ago. One of the most decorated individuals and well thought of individuals in professional football. And his grandson's actually holding up the family name pretty well here today.
I'll tell you what, Ozzie Newsome was a good person. He was a great professional, obviously outstanding football player. And it appears that Desmond has those attributes. He's poised. Obviously he's a good athlete. And when he got benched, when Jake Bentley came in, he didn't pout.
That's right.
He stayed in the quarterback room, and he learned and he grew. And look at him today. That goes to show that for every negative thing that happens, there's a positive equivalent around the corner if you stay the course.
Needed that 3rd down and 5, couldn't get it. He just sailed that pass over the head of Kareem Walker coming out of the backfield. So 4th and 5. And it looks like South Alabama may go for it here, sensing the way that this football game has gone. Well, now Kane Womack now pulling his offense back off the field. Maybe that was Major Applewhite that wanted to go for it. Head coach saying, look, let's just play the clock management game here for a moment. And now South Alabama will send Jack Brooks back out to punt. Brooks has had a pretty good day punting the football. 4 punts along a 54, 2 inside the 20. And he's got 31 career punts of 50 yards or greater. Hennigan wisely calling fair catch at the 25-yard line, and App State will start a drive with 1:09 to play in the 3rd quarter. You go back to Desmond Trotter, though, and that whole way that he approached getting benched. It also, comes back into how he played last week against Troy. He didn't start out incredibly well. He scored on the first play, and then he threw a pick 6 there in that first half as South Alabama got down so big. Major Applewhite said after the 2nd possession, he got on the headset, Desmond Trotter did, and he got on the headset to his offensive coordinator after throwing a ball at the feet of a receiver, and he said, "Coach, I just need to settle in.
That's right.
Give me just a second." And Major Applewhite said, "Yes, absolutely. That's what you want to see, a guy that's just like, hey, I'm there. I know what I'm trying to do. Give me just a moment and let me figure it out." And he's figured it out not only in the second half of that game, but pretty well in this one here today.
That shows maturity and poise, because think about how he entered that football game. Again, you get Jake Bentley who tears his MCL, and again he's down in the first quarter after 10 plays. He didn't anticipate going into that football game. And then they have immediately in the first quarter, they have the fumble. And then, of course, the interception early in the 2nd quarter. So he did have to settle down. And once he settled down, he kind of came into his own and played much better. But today he's played, I thought, pretty well today.
Chase Bryce with the handoff as the Mountaineers will try to play a little clock management game here as this 3rd quarter comes to an end. App State with a 10-point lead. Cam Peoples coming out of the bottom of the pile. It's Peoples who's gotten the majority of the carries today. Remember, this is a App State offensive unit that does not necessarily assign numbers to players in terms of touches. Peoples with 17 rush attempts today for 55 yards. It's been slow going for sure. And the Mountaineers will have to see if they can generate a little bit more of that offensive pressure here as we head to the 4th quarter at the Rock. 10-point ball game here in Boone.
That is the end of the 3rd quarter.
These fans are either frozen to their seats or they are multi-layered in their clothing. Maybe both. It's that kind of evening here as the sun sets on a beautiful day here in Boone, North Carolina. 4th quarter action coming from Kid Brewer Stadium. 17-7, you see App State on top of South Alabama. David Jackson, Avery Hall, we've been glad to bring this one to you. This feels like a little bit more traditional football game. This hasn't been a track meet. This is one of those cold, like NFC Championship game style ball games that has transpired here as Cam Peoples gets loose on 1st down, ends up getting bounced out into the South Alabama sideline for a gain of nearly 8. And now Peoples a little slow to get up. He awkwardly got twisted into that South Alabama sideline. That's a tough place to be hurt on the opposing team sideline.
particularly in a ball game that's as,
It's been a little chippy.
Chippy as this one, you talk about it has not been a track meet, DJ. The thing about it is when you look at the number of plays, Appalachian has only run 48 plays, and South Alabama has only run 52 plays. And as you know, Appalachian likes to run at least 65 to 70 plays a game easily at this juncture.
They've had a 90-play game once this year. Yeah.
And so that goes to show that South Alabama has done a decent job of controlling the tempo of this football game. And typically you see that, and you see higher rushing totals than what you see today. Not a lot of rushing yards here today. Appalachian doesn't even, well, now they have over 100 yards now, but finally with that run, but South Alabama just has 42 yards rushing.
37 minutes, almost 38 minutes of possession time for App State, as the pile of players will likely yield a first down here. 45-yard line was the line to gain. That's what they say positive progress will be. And they'll move the chains for a first down.
That was a good hard run by Anderson Castle, number 44. I think that's his first tote of the football game, but good hard running by that young man.
25th of the season for Anderson Castle, a Boone native, Watauga High graduate. You see the rushing yards on the day. Again, kind of a slow grind. Play action fake by Bryce. Going for the deep shot. Down the middle, and that ball is picked off. That's an interception for South Alabama. Devin Rocket with his second pick of the year at the 5-yard line, and South Alabama keeps App State from turning a deep shot into points. Instead, they turn it back into a possession the other way.
Again, you really never want to throw into double coverage, and that's exactly what Chase Bryce did on that throw. Again, the post route, he drops back, he goes through his read progression, doesn't see anybody, but then he forces it in. Watch the safety conversion. You can see that safety where he's sitting and where the corner's sitting, guarding the receiver. So you don't throw into that double coverage because he has room to run under that, just like your receiver does. So that's a poor decision on Chase's part.
So now a 10-point game. Desmond Trotter backed up to his own 5-yard line. This is one of those learn something drives here for Major Applewhite and crew. And just out of the gate, Terrion Avery giving a little bit of space to that South Alabama offense, rushing the football up to the 14-yard line. So a nice solid pickup of 8 yards on first down for Terrion Avery, who's got 9 carries for 12 yards on the day. South Alabama, 26 carries, 42 yards rushing. None of that matters in the fourth quarter in a 10-point game. You just go do it. Sean Clark said earlier this week, he said you play in November, or you win in November to play in December. That's exactly what South Alabama is going to try to do. There's Tolbert on the spin move.
That's coming back.
Flag on the play back at the 17-yard line.
You had a tight end blocking before the receiver even caught the football. That's illegal. And clearly that was real clear from our vantage point.
Pass interference. Offense number 88. Half the distance to the goal. Replay second down.
That's Lincoln Sefcik.
It's a nice design play if you can get away with the cheating. But see, the tight end was engaged with Cobb before the ball was even thrown, and then obviously when it was caught, he was still engaged. You just can't do that. That was too clear.
Oh, when defensive linemen see something that could have impacted one of their guys, man, you're fired up about that.
Well, people call it a rub, people call it a a screen, but
it's a timing thing too.
It really is. But you just hate it because that was real clear that he was ahead of the curve there. It was illegal.
Tolbert tackled at the 14-yard line. Jalen Tolbert has been a busy guy here in the second half. That's his 8th catch of the day. 13 targets now. Went over 100 yards a little earlier in the third quarter. 3rd down and 2 coming up for the Jaguars. And a shorted pass on the Mountaineer sideline. That was intended for Sefcik. Trotter threw it low and at his feet. This is awfully difficult territory to be down 10 and want to be aggressive on 4th and 2. Again, App State has turned away 3 fourth down conversions, and it's a little too tight of territory for Kane Womack to want to mess with, so South Alabama's going to have to punt. So the Jaguars get the interception, but App State comes up and delivers the defensive punch inside tight territory to get the football back.
Great defensive response to a turnover. There's plenty of time in this football game with 12 minutes and 38 seconds. So this is the right thing to do if you're South Alabama's coaching staff, to punt it away and live to try and get the ball back.
Brooks with a low punt, hit it. Hennigan, who catches right at midfield. So the Mountaineers with the football and 12:30 to go here in Boone.
Hi, my name is Jasmine, and a little...
Everybody having a great time here at Kid Brewer Stadium today. That's an awfully nice assortment.
You need that blazer in your wardrobe, man. You need to go ahead and get you one of those.
I'll get the blazer if you take the suspenders. We can fight over the flannel in the middle. That looks like something I'd have worn when I was in college. That's straight out of 90s grunge right there, right?
I don't think I can find any of those suspenders to fit me, though, so I get a hall pass there.
Right. That's where App State has the ball. Cam Peoples back in after being shaken up earlier on the South Alabama sideline. He's right back to midfield again. They'll actually give him a yard of progress. Under 12 minutes will pass before this next snap here in a 10-point ball game. Points have been hard to come by. Yards have been hard to come by. Both teams, defensive coordinators talked about minimizing the big play today, and we have seen only a handful of 20-plus yard gainers. A lot of South Alabama's productivity like that came just before the end of the first half. Both offensive coordinators said we need to have big plays. So what's going to give here in the fourth quarter? App State trying to dial up the big play machine, and Chase Bryce overthrows his intended target as Malik Williams over on the far sideline.
That makes for a tough third down call at midfield. You don't want to turn the football over, so it's going to make your play call a little more conservative, so it doesn't give you a lot of options in your playbook. But ASU it'd be in their best interest to try and get another first down to continue to run down this clock.
App State has turned the ball over 3 times today, have not given up a point yet on any of those turnovers. South Alabama turned it over once. They've given up 7. That's part of this 10-point deficit. Third down and 9. Downfield running lane. Peoples lost the football. A scrum for it at the 42. They're going to say it was down by contact. South Alabama saying they had it.
The runner was down before the ball came loose.
The ground cannot cause the fumble. And it was real clear the ground was the most aggressive tackler on that one.
Ball popped loose at the 42, scrummed at the 48. Watch Peoples again.
Good decision to turn up field he did, and the ground caused the fumble, and that again, you can't do that. So good hard running by Cam Peoples.
You are Johnny on the rules book today. You know, you can't have the ground cause a fumble, can't engage blockers.
I'm just trying to keep up with you, DJ. That's all. But no, this is a good football game, though, when you think about the defensive play and the physicality of it. I love a game like this. I would rather see a game like this than one that's 53-54. Some of the games you've seen in the ACC. So the Sun Belt has a good brand of football that they're playing right now. This is an exciting game to me.
And some exciting ball games. We'll get you some score updates here in just a little bit. 10:38 and rolling. Issue still in doubt here. 10-point ball game. Cam Peoples is going to be the one to carry an App State win on his back if the Mountaineers are going to pull it off. 21 carries, 83 yards.
Wow, good design play there.
Hennigan to the 20-yard line on the catch. And a Mountaineer first down in the process.
Good design play, good play call. Good throw by Chase Bryce. Again, that's a harder throw than it appears, thrown across your body there, but good execution by Hennigan. Starting off hard, pivoting back, catching the ball, and getting the first down.
Peoples with the right side run, plows through an initial tackler inside the 20 down to the 18-yard line. Rocket in there on the tackle.
This is a productive drive. Not only does it take, chews up time on this clock, but it keeps a pretty red-hot Trotter on the sideline, because he was kind of heating up a little bit. I want him to get over there Appalachian wants him to get over there and be a little cold on that sideline over there when he gets back in.
Play action. Bryce looking back toward the front pylon and overthrows his target. That was Miller Gibbs he was trying to hit. On the front corner, was out in front of him by about 2 or 3 yards.
Looks like Chase got a little dinged up there. I didn't see anything intentional, but it looks like he took a hard hit there after that throw. And that may have been why he stepped into it so hard and overthrew the ball.
Sean Clark said earlier this year when, talking about Jacob Huseman coming back to the team, what it means for you to have a backup with some time on the field, how that makes you feel as a coach. You know that Kane Womack knows exactly what he's talking about with the way Trotter's come out here again. But when you see Bryce take a shot like that, he took a shot last week. Sean Clark knows, hey, I've at least got some guys that are experienced. If you see a mainline player, Coastal Carolina's going through that this week with McCall out, and they are struggling with Georgia State right now. So you want to have as much of a veteran presence as you can, and that's one of the things that South Alabama was able to rely on.
That's exactly right. I was thinking about that. That's exactly right. Similar scenario on the other side of the ball there.
4th down play coming up here. This is a ball game definer in a 10-point game. South Alabama needs a stop. App State letting this clock roll down. Gibbs going in motion. Play clock at 1, and now a timeout called by App State.
Timeout. App State,
timeout call. We'll take
first.
it with them. 8.5 to play. 10-point game. Mountaineers with 4th down and 3 when we come back. Mountaineers breaking that timeout huddle, and they are sending the offense back out with 4th down and 3 from the 14-yard line in a 10-point game. South Alabama with a stop here could grab some much needed momentum. Bryce with the snap, play action look, little dump pass to Hennigan, to the 5, to the goal line. Touchdown, black and gold.
Wow, another well-designed play, because if you'll see, Hennigan is going to serve as the eye candy on this play, going in motion to discern the coverage, which he clearly could see it was man-to-man, and then he does the drag route across the field, leaving his man behind him. And I tell you, that's just a well-designed play. Perfect call in a 4th and 3 situation in your own territory, inside the red zone.
State on for the PAT. That's a separator right there. South Alabama will need a quick answer.
Yeah, that was
Thomas Hennigan getting some kudos on the sidelines.
You get a chance to take a look at that play, you'll see that it was perfectly designed. A well-run play by Hennigan. Again, you may not see the motion on the front end where Hennigan was motioning to discern. Take a look, he motioned a little bit, discern, and he's running that drag across the middle. Knew they were in man-to-man coverage and knew that he would outrun his defender. Well called play.
Welcome back to the Rock. You see some Sun Belt scores. We told you some important games around about Louisiana and Troy in a 1-point game. The big story, though, Georgia State up 2 with about a minute left on 22nd ranked Coastal Carolina. Of course, playing without Grayson McCall today. Sean Elliott's squad trying to play spoiler here in this Sun Belt East race for sure, as Colin Lacey takes the kickoff out across the 20-yard line up to the 21. So South Alabama needs an answer right now. They need an answer to App State's most recent touchdown. That was the 14-yard strike to Thomas Hennigan, his 3rd touchdown of the year, 20th catch for a score in his established and well thought of career here at Appalachian State. And now Desmond Trotter, as Avery Hall mentioned, was heating up quite well. Now he needs to take that out and emulate the offense that we saw at the end of the first half, when South Alabama was able to chew up yards quickly. Let's see exactly how they'll attack it. Trotter. Play action. Look,
wow.
And he's taken down on the first play from scrimmage. Not the start that Major Applewhite wanted to see. Ronald Clark gets to the quarterback. Drops him for a loss of 6.
That was a well-timed safety blitz by Ronald Clark. Again, gap responsibility up front. Everybody's in their gap, but you kind of create a little space for your safety there. Well timed.
Ronald Clark, redshirt freshman, really starting to come on at that safety position here toward the end of the season. Trotter on second down and long, being chased again. Mountaineers really dialing up that heat. And he'll throw it into the Mountaineer sideline, incomplete. That's one of the things that Major Applewhite talked about, was that you know, Dale Jones has got a propensity to just send that blitz. Send it, send it.
He does. And on that particular play, he sent the outside linebacker, Jalen McLeod, to put additional pressure on Trotter. And the play before, he brought the free safety, Ronald Clark. So, you know, as Major Applewhite said, you just never know where that pressure's coming from. He'll dial it up from anywhere, outside linebacker, middle linebacker, or even safety.
3rd and 16. Trotter with a little bit more time that time. Tolbert was out of bounds, came back in, and that pass out, check that was actually Jalen Wayne on the sideline there. So Wayne overthrown. That'll bring up 4th down, and South Alabama will send out the punt unit. TD Ruffin on this particular possession, he actually played for Coach Womack at Indiana. Check out the picture here with his kids.
Awesome.
That was after the spring game a couple years ago, but TD Roof was a favorite. When we got on our call with Coach Womack the other night, I mean, that was one of the first things out of his mouth. It was like, you know, I coached TD Roof, right? And has kept up with him quite well. So special opportunity for them today. They talked on the field before the game, and I'm sure they'll exchange a few hellos and maybe even update the picture.
And you know, you talk about IU and Indiana University. Obviously, he was part of that special sauce at IU because he's now at South Alabama coaching. They've done an about face going from 4-7 to 5-4. But at Indiana University, they are 0-6 in the Big Ten. And clearly their defense is not playing as well as they were playing last year. So we were joking with him. He must have been that secret sauce because, again, he's brought his secret sauce to South Alabama this year. But obviously he has great interpersonal skills. And for, you know, TD Roof to have that kind of picture with the coach's kids, that also says that, you know, players care about him. They'll play hard for him. And again, he has a good relationship with his players.
7:20 to go, 4th quarter. 24-7 App State trying to ice this one away on a chilly day. Anderson Castle with the carry as he's up across the 40 to about the 43. 4-yard pickup for the Boone native. We have a score update from down at the beach where it's a little warmer. 42-40 the final score. Georgia State defeats 22nd ranked Coastal Carolina. So another ranked team is down. And Georgia State provides a little distance for App State from Coastal Carolina here in the standings, which we'll show you here in a bit.
Well, you know, Sean Elliott and Sean Clark played together at Appalachian State, so I'm sure Sean Elliott was helping his buddy out. Said, I'll go down there and beat the Chanticleers for you.
Bryce with play action, looking down the seam and cannot connect. Looking for Deshaun Davis on the pass play. That'll bring up 3rd down and 7.
So do you say Chanticleers or Chanticleers?
Chanticleers.
Chanticleers.
It's like
okay.
Jaguars and not Jaguars. and a number of other things.
Well, Sean Elliott and the Georgia State Panthers went down and beat the Chanticleers today. Kudos to the Panthers.
3rd down and 7 coming up. 6:33 remaining in the 4th. Clock stopped on the incompletion. Castle stymied at the 42. Great surge there by South Alabama, doing the things that they need to do to get the football back. Check out the Sun Belt standings as of now. Troy in a battle with Louisiana as well, so some movement here in the Sun Belt East, and we'll see how that Troy-Louisiana game ends up and what the implications would be for App State next week as they try to remain in that driver's seat in the Sun Belt East and clinch a spot in a championship game. Louisiana's always already going to be there.
I tell you, it's going to be fun to watch, though, because, again, Troy still has to play App as well as Georgia State. And then you think about it, Louisiana, they're struggling today with Troy, and it could be a tough one at ULM. So it's going to be fun to watch Sunbelt football over the next 2 weeks.
Sabach with the punt inside the 10-yard line, down at the 9. So South Alabama with 5:33 to play, down 24-7. Has got a lot of real estate to cover, not a lot of time to do it. App State's been able to assert a little bit more offensive control in this second half. They're up to 330 in terms of total offense. South Alabama with just 212 yards of total offense, 168 in the air, just 44 yards on the ground. We'll see if Dale Jones continues to send that blitz with Trotter backed up inside his own 5. First pass is to Wayne to the 16-yard line. Pickup of 6 on first down. Jalen Wayne, the junior out of Spanish Fort, 9th in the league in receptions, just over 4 per game. He's been targeted for just about that same number of catches here today. Pass out of the backfield, complete to Terrion Avery. And this is the issue that South Alabama ran into last week, where they were able to complete a couple of scoring drives. They had a 19-play, 9.5-minute drive in the third quarter. Took too much time off the clock.
Right.
You got to be able to go quick strike a little bit faster. What we saw at the end of the first half, not necessarily reminiscent of what we have seen to start this very critical drive for the Jaguars. Running play on 3rd and short will be able to get the first down for the Jags. That's Avery on the carry. First down, South Alabama.
I will tell you, Appalachian's culture of winning, culture of being consistent has come into play today. And I will tell you, if Wilmot gets another year, because again, he's going to have success and folks are going to come after him, he can build a pretty good program or team here at South Alabama. So these guys, a lot of these guys will be back next year. I'm not writing them off this year, but they'll be back. So they're going to be a pretty good football team next year.
We'll take on Tennessee next week, close out at Coastal Carolina. That's the 8th catch of the day for Jalen Tolbert, as they'll move the chains up to the 35-yard line. First down, South Alabama.
They'll
Clock
catch,
rolling inside the 4:20 mark.
They'll catch Tennessee at a good time. Tennessee's having a pretty good time with Georgia right now. I don't know if they're winning, but they were up 10-7.
Lots of movement there. Flag flies in.
And so they'll catch Tennessee having to get really, really high from a football game against Georgia. And so you never know what can happen next week. Georgia State went into Tennessee last year and gave them all they could handle. So South Alabama may be catching Tennessee at a good time.
Well, and then you also see that Coastal Carolina lost today.
Defense number 43 was unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Georgia up 24-10 at halftime on Tennessee, and now you kind of circle an opportunity there for bowl eligibility for South Alabama, which is still a chase. They got 2 games left to do it if they cannot find a way to come back from a 24-7 deficit here in 4:07 o'clock time. But you got a Coastal team that's reeling a little bit.
And Coastal has to go to Mobile
to
play them. So that's going to make it tougher for the Chanticleers as well. Thank you for helping me with that.
You say whatever you want to say, man. You're an adult. Trotter hit as he throws, gets that pass out to Wayne on the sideline into Mountaineer territory and wrapped up at the 40-yard line. Caden Smith in on the tackle for App State.
Got some, I think, good separation by, see there, what you didn't see is Dante, I think that's Dante Small at the corner position, but what you didn't see is good separation by Jalen on that play and coming back to the football.
Brian Hill is the running back. Pass play down the sideline, incomplete. Flag comes in there as well. Madison Cone in coverage. That was Jalen Wayne, the intended target. Stops the clock with 3:26 to play.
You know, I always thought that cornerbacks or defensive backs were taught to use the sideline as a
pass interference. Defense number 12, 15-yard penalty, automatic first.
As a 12th defender. And, you know, look at the optics on that is that Cone was running down the sideline with Jalen and just really accentuated ownership in his space, which was, you know, running down the sideline as well. But, you know, I guess you can call that either way.
8th penalty for 68 yards against App State tonight. 3:26 to play. South Alabama down 17. Need to wrap this drive up with points in the end zone. Completion to Hopper inside the 10-yard lines. Already got a touchdown today. Jacob Hopper will come to rest at the 7. First and goal situation here for South Alabama. Actually, they mark him back poorly at the 9-yard line. Looked like he had advanced farther forward. First and goal from the 9. 3 minutes to go. Trotter with a little bit of time. Pressure coming from behind. He throws away. And will live to fight another down. Demetrius Taylor in there on the pressure.
Demetrius Taylor has had a monster.
There is no foul for intentional grounding. The passer was outside of the pocket and the ball crossed the line of scrimmage. Second down.
App State with 8 tackles for loss today, a pair of sacks. You mentioned Demetrius Taylor. He has had an active afternoon. 3 total tackles, 2 tackles for loss, a couple quarterback hurries in there, and he can add 1 more to his total after that. Second and goal from the 9, under 3 minutes to play. Trotter hit again, and that ball's picked off by Trey Cobb. Cobb may be able to run this one back. He's got blockers across the 30. Streaking down that sideline. He's got a convoy of black and gold support. Trey Cobb to the goal line. Ball game at the Rock.
Wow. I tell you what, again, what people will not see is Demetrius Taylor putting pressure on the quarterback, making him throw off balance. And again, Cobb just is the beneficiary of great defensive line play up front.
App State might need to rebrand itself Pick 6 U. It was Stephen Jones last week. Trey Cobb's second interception of the day goes all the way back to the house.
If you see the play in its entirety, you'll see the pressure put on Desmond Trotter, which forced an errant throw. And just Trey Cobb taking advantage of a great opportunity. And these guys are getting so, I guess, acclimated to scoring touchdowns. They all blocked. They look like offensive linemen blocking down the sideline there.
That goes in the books as a 100-yard return.
You see Taylor coming off the edge, forcing an errant throw. Pressure will burst pipes all the time.
Foot was on the goal line, went goal line to goal line. I think he gets out of conditioning running tomorrow night after that one. And check out Stephen Jones is the one right next to him as he crosses the goal line. He knows the route.
Because if you can do it, I can do it better. That little commercial, but again, good job by Stephen going and leading. And somebody leveled Desmond Trotter, who's really putting forth a yeoman's effort to make a play. Somebody put him on. They call it a pancake if you're an offensive lineman. But good job by the defensive backs turning into blockers.
31-7 the score after the PAT. App State will salt this one away on another defensive touchdown. This was not the game that we saw in the first half.
No. And again, it's culture, it's being established, it's knowing how to win that has just taken over this football game. But if Coach Womack is still around, and again, because he's been successful, he's going to have opportunities. He'll build this out, the Alabama program. They'll be pretty good for years to come, as long as he can keep his staff there and keep the type development that's going on there now.
You know, one of the things that Kane Womack said in our conversation with him, and in trying to think forward, you know, he talked about casting a vision for what he wants to see players look like at the end of their career rather than the earlier part. And the macro to micro on that, obviously long-term vision sells the importance of the daily improvements. But when he talked about what he wanted his program to look like eventually, he said, you know, look at App State. They've got a generational identity. Their players lean on that when times are tough. Sean Clark even said, hey, you know, that's part of our recruiting secret here, is that we don't try to be anything that we're not. We're a team that runs the football. It's a blue-collar approach, and if you continuously recruit like that, you don't get yourself into a situation where you've got kind of an identity complex that leads into athletic mismatches and just not looking right, if you will, at certain positions. So South Alabama trying to emulate that, I think, is a good way to build forward.
That's exactly what he said. And again, it's funny, just a call before that, we were with the ASU coaches, and they, Sean talked about finding the right fit. And then, shortly right after that, the USA coach comes back and talks about some of the same characteristics that he's trying to, build in his program. And again, he talks about how that player is going to look once he's developed. So again, it's trying to emulate a great program here.
How about emulate a great defensive player like that? 6 tackles, a tackle for loss, a pair of picks, 100-yard pick 6. Take that, Stephen Jones. They're talking it up right now. He's saying, all right, look, see, what I did was ran as far as you possibly can run on a football field. What do you want to do next time?
Well, and Stephen probably said, well, if you add my 34 yards and my 34-yard and my 47, it's still longer than yours. But Appalachian leads the country in defensive touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken.
Tacked on to that lead here tonight. Kareem Walker showing that burst. Has a first down as South Alabama keeps their drive alive with 1:03 to play. I tell you, Kareem Walker has been a guy, Mississippi State transfer, that has shown some quickness and a different look in the run game for South Alabama here today.
He's a big guy. Again, 6 foot, 215 pounds. He's pretty elusive, pretty quick too. And he's if I'm not mistaken, he has another year. It's hard to tell with some of the classifications with this extra year for COVID. But he's impressive. He runs the ball hard. Now he's been dinged up. That's why you've not heard a lot about him throughout the season. He's had a few injuries, but he's been pretty impressive today.
App State will finish this football game off with 330 yards of offense. 3 turnovers today, but no points allowed off of it. The Mountaineers were able to capitalize on 2 South Alabama turnovers, put 14 points on the board. And I mean, that's the difference in the game, is capitalizing on turnovers.
That's exactly right. And Appalachian was very fortunate. But again, I hate to belabor a point, but that's where culture and knowing how to win comes into play.
And that should be the final play of this one, as the 2 teams will head toward the middle of the field, and our final score of 31-7 will send Appalachian State to 8-2 on the year, 5-1 in Sun Belt play, while South Alabama falls to an even 5-5 overall, 2-5 in league action. Avery Hall, your final thoughts on this one?
I tell you what, just really a good football game. Don't let that score fool you, 31-7. It was a closer football game. You had 2 well-coached football teams playing great defense. You had a few mental mistakes on offense and special teams, but it made for a good football game that was well-coached, well-played, and the kids played hard for 60 minutes.
Great embrace there by Sean Clark and Kane Womack, taking a little extra time at midfield. I'm sure they're talking a little bit about the dual ejection play, but both guys with big smiles on their faces and a nice brotherly hug there as they build their programs out in a very similar way. That'll do it for us here from Kid Brewer Stadium here today in front of a crowd of 29,348. Our final score, 31-7, App State on top. Today's broadcast has been a presentation of ESPN. Full highlights and archives available on the ESPN app. For Jerry Thomas,